Yeah, be right back.
All right.
So yeah, this is the third level, and then there's two more adventures that I wanna try at some point. Um, so we'll wait for DPJ to get back. So I'm reading the new run of the Hulk, and it's back to being Banner as Hulk, because it was Amadeus Cho for a good while. So it's back. It's back to Banner being Hulk, but the supposition from the first comic is that he doesn't turn into the Hulk till he dies, which is really strange. I don't think that's what they're gonna. I don't know that's what they're gonna hold with, but that's what has triggered two of his changes now. Right.
Give me. I mean, the Hulk is borderline Superman in the sense that he's almost unbeatable, like practically indestructible.
Sure.
So I want weaknesses with him. I don't want a fucking Hulk easily. And a movie I loved had a hate spike in it when Banner issued the line, "I'm always angry," and instantly turns into the Hulk. No, you've completely destroyed the character with one line. As far as I'm concerned, that's part of the fucking weakness of him. He's vulnerable during those times. He can't instantly change. It takes him 30 seconds. That's a good thing.
Sure.
So give me the classics, man. Yeah, I want the classics.
Yes.
Give me the Thor with Don Blake and a staff. Give me that fucking Thor.
Yes, I get it. If it was left up to Rob, all comics and movies would still be in the 70s. Hey, I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying that they have done some incredible things with some characters since then.
I mean, I've been slowly trying to catch up from the time I stopped reading in the early 80s until now. But yeah, it's a fucking mountain.
It's a nightmare because everyone was like, right, and everyone's like, oh, we're going to do this crossover event in 30 different books. Oh, by the way, we have 62 books in publication right now.
There was a time when I collected more than half the titles. And that's impossible now. I mean, you'd go broke.
I was going to say, what was that, like all 12 of them? Like 13 maybe? Like now it's ridiculous. Like there's four or five concurrent X-Men titles, like X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold, X-Men Red, Uncanny, Wolverine's X-Men. Like it's ridiculous. All right. Although X-Men Red is really good. I like it a lot. And
I've heard good things about it.
I also really enjoy.
And there's a million independent comics today too, which there wasn't back in the day,
Oh yeah, some of the independent stuff's really, really good. Some of it's really, really garbage. But yeah, the new Plastic Man is pretty cool. It's just it basically is for people who didn't grow up reading Plastic Man. So it's like, hey, here's Eel now, but the issues are going to recap how he kind of became Plastic Man and why he is what he is. This guy who's struggling with the fact that he was a criminal before he became a pseudo hero, and he's trying to fight the silliness of it, but at the same time he's still Plastic Man, so the silliness happens. Like when he impersonates Wonder Woman.
Did you hear they're doing an Invincible show, animated show? That could be cool.
Yep.
All right.
That sounds like your niece or my niece calling you.
That's exactly what it is.
All right, we'll do that real fast.
Will do.
She's getting ready to go to bed. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of like some of the changes they made to certain characters. I'm not a huge fan of Wolverine. Right, I think he's kind of a one-note character for the most part. Just He just is what he
works
is.
best as a member of the team, 1/6 of a team or whatever. I agree.
And I'm not a huge fan of Cyclops because the comics made him into a prick, and that's just where they left him.
Yeah, about one of the most emo characters ever.
But
Thanks,
you know,
Chris Claremont.
I love Jamie Maddox, Multiple Man. I think he's a great character.
Love Multiple Man. They're doing a movie of him, not animated, live action movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite deals with him ever, and I've said this before, is at one point in one of the storylines, he gets stranded out in the Himalayas, and he's starving, so he makes a multiple of himself, kills it, and eats it. And in Marvel, when you're a cannibal, you become a Wendigo. Not the Wendigo, but a Wendigo.
Yeah.
And the Wendigo still had his powers. So that was like there was an army of Wendigos that was taking. This was back when Hulk was split, right? When you had Banner and you had the really dumb Hulk that would carry him around.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it like them Cyclops Beast is out there, and they're trying to deal with this, and this multiplying Wendigos kicking their tail. Because they
multiplying Wendigo, yeah.
Yeah, they kept trying to figure out. They're like, didn't we kill? Because it would never show up like 40 at a time. Like, didn't we take him out? Like, I don't understand. And it was because Jamie ate himself.
Huh.
Yeah. His new comic just started, Multiple Man. They rebooted him, and I think that's one of the good things that Marvel is doing right now. Is they're taking a lot of the lesser known heroes and giving them short run in individual titles so that you can know their story, and they're not changing them too much. They're just, instead of it happening in the 70s, it's now happening in the 2000s.
Yeah, I remember when they did it with each of the X-Men got a 4-issue miniseries.
Mm-hmm. All right. Are you still talking to Journey? Nope. All right, cool. So this will be an unexpressed amount of time after the pirate fiasco, but at this point, you guys, you kind of know each other. You've been through what you've been through, and some time has passed. So again, the four of you find yourselves sort of sitting in the glass fish downstairs eating.
Mm-hmm.
And there are, the normal comings and goings, right? People come in, they're picking up, it's kind of like a McDonald's drive-through for the town. They come in, they pick up like a piece of bread and some meat, and then they go out for whatever their daily deal is, because some people don't, with this being a very transient town, some people don't have the facilities to cook their own food. So a lot of the sailors will come in here and get some food before they go back onto the ships and what have you. And this morning's been no exception. There's been that sort of trickle in, trickle out, trickle in, trickle out. But about that third wave, sort of two Silver Tuesdays. That's right. About that third wave, 9 o'clock in the morning or so, there is a freneticness to the people who are coming in. There is everything is sort of clipped and excited. And as you guys are sort of looking around and listening and talking amongst yourselves, you can hear a lot of murmuring, clamoring about, hey, did you see it? Yeah, it's like 3 feet big. I've never seen anything that big. And that kind of goes on until one of the people who remembers you guys from the dock comes over to your table.
Did Doug forget his pants again?
Right, it's 3 feet big. He comes over to your table, and it's a younger sailor kid. You've seen him a couple times, but he comes over and he kind of like taps on the table, and he's like, "You're some adventurers. You should come see this. I've never seen anything like it. They say it's an egg, but it's got to be 2 or 3 feet tall, and and just as big around. I've never come on. Well, all right, if you don't come now, you should go check it out. And then he kind of he bolts out as he runs into a friend of his, and you hear them. They're gonna go down and take a look at it. It's out in the center of town. A couple of local teenagers brought it in from the farms and are hoping to sell it.
All right, I will finish off maybe a bit of wine or mead I'm drinking and stand up. Shall we?
Yes, I think we should. It's always good to leave the table a bit hungry.
All right.
Yeah,
so,
I'll head out. Should be able to follow
Yeah.
the crowd. I think.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's at this point there's a stream of people who are heading towards the center of town, which actually takes you away from the docks a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's you have the docks, and then you have like the stores and stuff that tend directly to the docks, and the next row of town is really the center. It's where all the other merchants are.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a center area right there, and there is a farmer's cart. It's not anything to speak of. It looks kind of rickety. In fact, you're not sure that you would trust riding in it, but it's pulled up. There's this sort of old shaggy horse tied to the front of it that is attempting to munch on weeds and other non-nutritious plants that are kind of growing up around this stone block in the center of town. And there are two suntanned and disheveled teens, one redhead and one more blonde kid, who are standing up there, hands on hips, chest just puffed out, and the crowd is kind of gathered around them and this wagon, and they're pointing down at it and taking turns talking about how they found this. They were out hunting, and in this clearing, they came across. What would you say it was, Bird? Maybe 15 feet around nest. Oh yeah, that maybe even 20. We might have got the runt of the eggs. Well, we come across this nest, and being the savvy hunters we are, we take a minute, we look around, we don't see anything. No, we didn't see anything, but we listened. And that's when I saw it, this egg. And I looked at Bird, and I said, Bird, we should get that. And he looked at me. Yeah, I looked at him, and I said, Cal, that's a good idea, make a really big omelet. I said, no, Bird, no, we could sell it. It's probably a dragon egg. And the crowd's like, oh, dragon. Yeah, I would guess it's probably an ancient dragon egg. One of those, like a red one maybe, or and he looks down. I mean, the shell's kind of a red color. Yeah, but could be camouflage. It might be one of those blue ones or a white one. Don't be stupid. The white ones live up in the snow.
I'm gonna kind of lean into Tadeo and say, do dragons make nests?
I do not know. I have never met one. But if there is a dragon nearby, we should go search it out. It could present a danger to the town and the citizens.
It could
Where?
be.
Where did you find this nest?
So they kind of get ripped out of their back and forth story, and Cal, the taller redheaded kid, he jumps down. He's thin, but he's got a very toned build to him from working on a farm. And he jumps down off this stone. He walks over and he climbs up on the rickety wagon. You can sort of hear that as he gets up there. And he's like, "You mean, where'd I find this?" And he lifts up this egg. It's large. It looks like it could be glass or even stone. It's got that sort of shimmery, shiny. It is reddish in color, but is very glossy. Looking at it, you think probably about 35, 40 pounds worth of an egg.
Oh, so that's not insanely heavy.
To my companions, I'm going to say I know little of dragon eggs. Perhaps you do? Could that be a dragon egg?
Well,
Tug's gonna just sort of shoulder his way more or less through the crowd, sort of breaking them apart with sheer mass, and literally walk up to the wheel of the wagon where the kid's standing, look up, and reach for the egg.
And he kind of tries to lean away with, whoa there, pal. It's and he looks over at Bird, and you see Bird hold up like 5 fingers. It's 5 copper to hold a dragon egg. And you see a lot of people like, and they start reaching in the coin purses like we're gonna hold a dragon egg.
I say I throw a gold coin on there. I say let him hold it for a few minutes here, if you would.
All right. So he wants to like very quickly toss you the egg because gold piece. But at the same time, so he lowers the egg down to you, and he picks up the gold piece and kind of like holds it really high, and he flips it over to his friend Bird, who looks more astonished at the gold piece in his hand than he does at the fact that there's a 2.5 foot egg over there. And
where was this nest? Could be a danger.
Out in the wood. Is this real? And he just he shoves it into. He just fists it into the pocket real quick.
It's real. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Belfast. I put up my hand.
He puts up his hand also. I'm Bird. That's Cal.
Well, pleased to meet you both. I lean into Tug. I say, Tug, is it sunny out right now?
It is very sunny.
Oh, good. I say, Tug, could you hold that egg up over your head right about there? And I kind of gesture. I'm gonna see if I can see anything.
You're trying to candle a dragon egg?
Yeah, basically. Hey, whoa! You just let it slip as a dragon egg. No,
did I?
Did I? Yeah, no. Well, no. Actually, I want to see.
It was kind of like glass. It was almost like glass.
Well, even if it's not like glass, I mean, it's
got that sheen to it.
Yeah, more like texture. More like ceramic or something.
Yeah.
But hey, maybe even I can get a general shape, maybe.
So when he holds it up, you don't get you can't see through it. But what you do catch is that as the sunlight directly hits it, it is sort of opalescent.
Yep. And
so there are multiple like reds and oranges and greens and browns, and even the browns are shiny browns. But there does appear to be like I don't know what the word would be, veinous structure. Like you can see veins, like what look like veins inside the egg, or even maybe they're just below whatever the carapace of the egg is. Maybe they're not all the way inside. As you're holding it up there, Tug, you do feel a little bit of a whoop inside of it, like something kind of moves.
Well, while he has it up there too, and I'm looking at it, and I have my hands toward it. I'm going to kind of surreptitiously also reach out with divine sense to see if I can. I mean, I don't think there's anything like fiendish or celestial in there necessarily.
But celestial is not fiendish. It's
I'm assuming not undead since they don't lay eggs.
100% undead egg. No, it's not an undead egg. So Bird gets off the stone block and he walks over to you, Rob Tadeo, and it's out in the woods just past Cal's farm. Well, Cal's my cousin, just out past his farm.
How far? You need to be more specific. This could be a danger.
Well, it takes us about 9 or 10 hours riding to town. I don't know.
How far beyond the farm?
Another hour.
You found this on high? On a hill?
No. It was you see out there in the forest. After you get through the bramble portion of it, there's the old wood. Well, the new wood, then there's the old wood. The stuff that hasn't been logged and cut down for the town yet. And then at the center of that, there's a clearing. And we go to that clearing all the time. For games or playing nights or whatever when we were little. And I ain't never seen him before, but there it was, a big nest. It's got to be bigger than. And he holds out his hands. It's the only egg, I think.
Nest was on the ground?
Yeah. But I mean, it was big, probably 8 or 10 feet, and you can see past him that Cal's like, oh yeah, 15 feet, maybe, big.
I'll nod. I'm going to walk over to my companions again. It seems unlikely it is dragon egg. On the ground in the open, that does not seem like a dragon to me.
No, it doesn't.
Can Tug put down now?
Gently, yes. Back on the. We don't own it. We're only borrowing it. So, if you would back on the wagon gently,
so
as you would a baby, which it basically is.
Catch.
Yeah, right.
So when Tug places it down, other townsfolk go past you guys and are now like giving 5 copper to be able to touch it or to hold it, or and the town starts clamoring about that. There's a sense of wonderment that comes with touching this dragon egg, and Cal goes on to talk about, I bet it's gonna be it's probably grow up to be one of those giant dragons that fly over castles and burn them down. Or, I mean, what if we raised it and trained it?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned. So I kind of huddle up with my companions, like, this feels a bit like giving a small child a razor. I don't think that they're. Perhaps we should offer to buy it off of them and keep it someplace safe, at least for now.
Steve, was the egg warm to touch, or was it air temperature, or what?
Kind of. So, it's warm, but it's like if you had a sun and a rock. If you had a rock in the sunlight, that sort of warm, right? Like it's sucking up heat, not putting it out.
Yeah. I'm also concerned that parents often look for their children, not in all species, but in some. And if this egg is here, it's going to come here. I think we need to get this egg out of town as soon as possible. So perhaps if we make them an offer.
Yeah, I agree.
Sounds wise. If the egg were to hatch, a creature might come forth that would consume some of the townsfolk.
I don't think it's anything as remarkable as these gentlemen are talking, but an egg this size, the mother must be very large.
Yes, and to be fair, it is quite remarkable. I won't deny
Another
that.
big snake.
Yeah, perhaps that's not a bad idea. Although,
What
again,
approach do you wish to use on these finders? Do you wish to scare them?
No. Let's. They seem to be keen on gold. Let's see what we can offer them.
If they seem reluctant, mention that a large mother might be searching for them and might be angry at such bearers of an egg.
I will keep that in my repertoire. So
Tug fix wagon.
Tug what?
Tug fix wagon.
That's true. That's true. Well, so I'll kind of go over to them. I say, young men, I must say we're my colleagues and I are extremely interested in your egg.
He stands up from kind of exaggerating his tale to whoever the current person is holding the egg, and once again Cal drops off the wagon and he walks over. Oh yeah? How interested?
Well, I was going to ask you actually. How much would it set me back to purchase the egg?
You can see that a couple of the people at the back heard that, and so they look over also.
And I don't look at him as I'm saying this, not totally interested, but I kind of go down to my money bag and I'm sort of like kind of looking at it, and I make a point to have it, sound really full.
Right.
I mean, for around here, it's not bad.
Right. No, it's not. I mean, you guys are probably on par or better than a lot of the merchants here.
Right.
I don't know. Hey, Bird. How much did we want to sell the egg for? Man. Well, I mean, holding it's 5 copper and 7 days in a week, and
16 ounces in a pound.
right. And you gotta fish a bicycle.
4 pints in a quart.
28 days in February.
It's a leap year. Carry the June.
Is Tug related to these guys?
Tug gets it, yeah.
He 71 gold.
71. I tell you what, we'll be happy to pay that. I think that's a very, very fair price. But would you do us a favor? We could use something to haul it. See, we wish to bring it out of town as soon as possible, and so having a method of carrying it would be good. Something to protect it a bit. If we gave you 80, would you be able to go acquire us a chest for it? Something that's of suitable size, with padding. If you could go handle that end of things for us, then we could see to the egg. I suppose we could do that. Well,
so a couple, a few more of the townsfolk now have caught on to what's going on, and Bird walks over. I can't sell you a wagon. It's my dad's turnip wagon.
Well, I'm sure 8 gold would more than compensate him for his turnip wagon.
I'm not saying it's not a fair offer. There's just not a wagon maker in town.
I see.
Well, you can see past him. There's a couple of merchants who are also kind of like looking through their gold pouches right this second, trying to figure out like.
I want to turn my back to Belfast and face them, and like cross my arms in a sort of intimidating fashion. Like, just don't even think about it.
All right.
Meanwhile, I'm kind of look up at the sky, thinking, and I go over and I pretend to consult with Tug. So what I'm really saying to Tug is,
Tug, how much money?
How was your sleep last night?
Yeah, I'm gonna as inconspicuously as I can. I'm gonna give you most of my gold, which is 25 gold is most of my gold. So
okay, all right. Well, actually, if all 4 of us just put in 20, we can cover it. That's fair. That way we each put in 20, assuming we have it. I do.
I have 30 gold total, so I just gave you 25. So
okay,
got 10.
Okay. So
Tug hands you his money pouch. You can't count that high.
Today, can you give me an intimidation roll? Because there are some merchants over there that are.
Let me get some deaths.
This.
All right. I get a backup plan. I got
Kill the
proficiency. 24.
Okay. So you see all but one of the merchants. They like shove their like they just close their coin purses and kind of like turn back away and start talking about other things. I mean, you're an intimidating person. You're foreign, and they did just see you battle a giant snake on the docks. But
and they got a big weapon.
Right. One of the guys, he's a very large, like both tall and portly individual. He's probably one of the best dressed merchants out here. You know him. His name is Sly, and he owns several ships that come in and out of here. Like that's what he merchants.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of strides and waddles towards you.
Okay.
And
I will
he walks
match
up,
his gaze and watch.
Okay. He walks up and picks a dog hair out of his mouth. That's disgusting. He does not do that. I just did. That was weird. But he walks up and you see he eyes you up and down. He strokes his pointy little Van Dyke beard. And how are you planning on getting it out of town? In a box. How far will you get?
We were hoping to procure a wagon. Do you sell such?
I think I don't sell them, but I do have one, and you can use it.
Yes. And what do you wish for this favor?
Not a thing. If you think that some giant beast might come to the town and look for its egg, I wish it gone too. You wouldn't believe how much the snake in the docks cost to me.
That is a concern. You're a wise man. I can see that. Perhaps you'd like to share in our expense here, and help us to purchase the egg. Become perhaps donate a little bit more.
No, I'm okay with that. There's no profit to be made in throwing away a dragon egg or whatever it is.
Well, thank you then at least for that. If you could get the wagon up here as soon as possible, we need to get this out of town immediately.
Oh no, I'm not going to bring the wagon to you. But
I see.
When you're ready, he points over at one of the larger merchant houses that are up here. It's in my stable behind there.
All right then.
I will turn to Belfast. Make sure no one else procures or touches this egg. I will fetch the wagon. I'm just going to go marching off in that direction.
Okay.
Thank you.
So there's still a line of people that are wanting to pay 5 copper to touch the egg.
Yeah.
And Bird and Cal are still taking copper.
Okay. Yeah, I'll once I'm done collecting our gold, I'll go over and I say, well then, here is the 80 gold as promised. Are you prepared to make the transaction?
So Cal looks and you can see he's eyeing the line and maybe give me a couple more minutes here. I can't deny the people the pleasure of touching a dragon egg, as it were.
Well, let's just amend that slightly. You understand our greater concern here is that that this egg presents a danger to the town, as you might well imagine, and I can't help but think a broken egg might be worse than having an intact egg, as we would have nothing to bargain with should its mother show up. So, touching, good. Picking up, not good.
Mom might smell people touch egg.
Well, that's true, but I think at this point, a few more hands shouldn't make that much of a difference. You have until my friend returns with the wagon, and at which point we will finish this transaction.
All right. So the line is probably 50, 60 people long at this point. Of people who have, and there are some equivalent of like dirt farmers that have gone and dug up their coffee can with their life savings of 5 copper that are going to spend it to touch a dragon egg. But so that progresses. People are okay with not picking it up. A couple kind of try, but after some stares or a tug,
I was gonna say, I'll just have Tug put his hand on top of it, just not even pushing down, just having his hand there is enough to keep it from being lifted.
So today you head off towards the large building that he indicated. As you're going along sort of the crescent here that is the Merchant's Row, there are things like tailors and hat makers, and there are even services like you can get official and legal documents drafted here in this town, and they do that because there's a lot of title work that happens with ships. And so they have, certain stamps and things they can put on it. But all of these buildings all have like signs out in front of them that A, read what they are, and B, give some sort of symbol, like a pictogram of what they do as well. But you get to about the 5th building in, and it is twice as large in both side to side and height as these buildings. It is separated on both sides by a small alley, and this one doesn't say anything other than "SMY" on the front of the building. It's probably the best, as far as like looks, like in the best repair of all the other buildings. It has a nice wooden sidewalk out in front of it. And there is an alleyway that goes back, and down that alleyway, the first one you come to, you can see a large stable and horse yard back there.
Yeah, I'm heading right there. Pretty much a beeline.
Okay, so you get back there, and there's a couple of guys out there working. They are one of them is working on dropping iron bands onto chests, like he's bending them to fit the curve of the wood. One of them is loading sacks of something into a wagon. Another one is calling out to the 3rd gentleman, or 4th gentleman is up in the top of the barn portion of this stable. And he calls out, 2 more sacks, John. And you see these large sacks come flying out of the top up there and whoop onto the ground and whoop onto the ground. But just inside the large portion of the opening into the stables, there's another wagon thing that's not being used.
Do I get any sense of what is in these sacks?
The way they hit grain or maybe even things like cotton or the equivalent thereof, like it's something obviously be unceremoniously hucked. Okay. The bags the sacks themselves do look very resilient, like they are thick canvas and are sewn with thread that even at like 10 feet away, you can see the thread that is holding the sack together.
I'm gonna go right over to the wagon, and I'm gonna pick it up like as if I were, the horse kind of thing. I don't know if it's for a horse or if it's a kind of more of a rickshaw, but
the wagon you see is meant for a single horse. Don't eat my hamster.
All right. So I'm gonna put like the shoulder things on my shoulders and just lean into it and just march out of there with this wagon.
So the guy who was calling up, he stops. There's like a whump of another bag, and he stops and looks over at you. Hey there, friend. Could I help you?
I am borrowing this wagon. I have permission from your boss, your master. I just keep marching. Like that's a full explanation.
Like he kind of looks like dumbfounded. You get part of the way down the alley, and you hear a voice from behind you. Did he say he was going to loan you a horse too?
No. Do you have a spare horse?
He again very dumbfoundedly walks over, and he comes back out with a very nice looking sort of dappled horse, and yeah, you can you take this one.
So, by way of thanks, I will just give like a short, really, momentary bow. Yeah. And I'll take the horse from him and start hooking on the tack.
Yeah, he comes over and he helps you. You can see there's a sense of recognition in his eyes. Like he knows who you are. And perhaps even part of the way through hooking this horse up, you also recognize him. He was one of the guys that rushed down to the docks and wasn't, standing back and oohing and awing and throwing rocks. Like he was in the thick of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see maybe even like a fresh scar on the side of his face where he caught some of the shrapnel from the dock as it erupted. But he helps you hook up the horse, and he's got the reins in his hands, and he starts to move him towards you, and he pauses for a moment. You're not lying to me, right, friend? Like Smai said you could.
If you wish, you can follow me to your master. I am taking this wagon to where he is now.
No, between the two of us, less often I have to see him, the better. He's not a bad man, just that voice. And he hands you the reins, and he looks at you. You heard anything about a dragon egg in town?
That is why we are getting this wagon.
What?
It is not a dragon egg. It must be taken from town. It is not safe for it to be here.
That's a shame. Not that it's not safe, but that it's not a dragon egg. Well,
it's
good luck. What kind of egg do you think it is? I mean,
have you heard of
like 3 feet?
Owl bear?
An owl.
Picture something like a large bear with the head of an owl and a beak sized to match. I believe one of these is inside. Actually, I don't believe that. I have no clue what's inside. But that's
sure. No, I mean it's good. It's good enough. So
plausible enough.
He's 2 foot egg. Right.
Or tropical could be a parrot bear, I suppose.
He's he looks
think of a bear cub, right?
Right. Now he looks at you and he's like, I'm
getting slowly walking away from him the whole time, just leaving.
Sure. So kind of like in the background of the scene, then you see this guy. He's like, a chicken egg. And chicken's this big. And you see him look over at like the 2-story building. Huh. And you hear a whomp shatter, like rip of a bag, and you see these small like round marbles come pouring out of the bag. Ah! And he goes back over to go clean up that mess as you kind of exit the alley. There are still people that are going down the road towards the center of town, and they are moving. Unless you're riding the horse fast, they're moving faster than you are through town.
I'm just walking it through town.
Yeah, so they're kind of running towards this, and you hear you can hear them as they're talking, and what you catch from the glimpse of it is that word has made it in these few moments around town that someone's bought the egg. So if you wanted to go see it and touch it, like now's the time. And so as you you get back, you come around the corner of this to the center of town, and the crowd is no smaller than it was, but you see a lot of new faces, and the line is still like 60 people long. And for as long as you guys have been out there, the line has stayed that, like, it seems like every time someone touches it or pets it or tries to pick it up, someone else is replacing them in the line. And Bird and Cow are beside themselves. Neither of them have left to go get this crate or box you asked for, because they are tickled pink with this income.
I might not lie like he shouldn't, but I can, sort of make suggestions. I'm going to, as I get close to this crowd, I'm going to say out loud, "Aside, I'm here to pick up the cursed egg."
So you can see that maybe like 30-40% of the people that hear that suddenly lose interest in touching this egg. Maybe another 30-40% don't actually hear you or doesn't process. And there's a couple of them out there that now look doubly excited to go touch this egg.
I also gotta think there's probably some that have touched it that are shitting now.
Right. Yeah, there's a mom that has like a kid by his wrist. I told you shouldn't touch it. We're gonna get the priest to bless your hands, or
5 coppers
in a bath tonight.
If I was playing a disreputable character, I'd pay someone in the crowd to like touch it and collapse or something, and screaming.
So it is a bit of a fiasco to get the wagon close to the cart, but I mean, people are not stupid, right? They eventually move because they don't want to be trod on by a horse or their toes run over by a wagon. So as you guys are there, you can see the crowd towards the merchants, the direction that Tadeo left. You can see them starting to peel off. You hear Tadeo's voice call out something, and some of the people like look at their hands and leave. Some of them pick up some dirt and start rubbing it like vigorously on their hands. The one guy that you remember that like came over and like was hugging and like kissing the dragon egg, all of a sudden like he is like sheet white and more or less running towards Father Johnson's temple. He's just but the crowd does eventually kind of move, and so you now have like this center stone in town that was originally used for making announcements right there. In the grand scheme, when this was going to be a traveler's hub, a sort of hotspot, it's almost like a tour guide would have stood out here and given directions to where things were in this little seaside town. And now it's just kind of a place where people hang out. It's it's a collective meeting spot where you don't have to be in someone's store or someone's home or down near the fishy docks. And so you have this large piece of stone that it's well worked. It's fairly shaped, and it's sort of rectangular shape. You have the rickety wagon with hay and grass hanging off of it, wheels that look like they're going to fall off any moment, and then this very it's hard to call a work wagon beautiful, but in respect to the other one, it's a beautiful wagon. Sort of pulls up with this very well behaved dapple horse that hasn't neighed or bit or kicked anybody, which is pretty good. And Tadeo up driving it.
Steve, I have a kind of it'd be a judgment call on your part, being the GM of this. Now, the sanctuary spell, it says that you can ward a creature against attack.
Right.
Would this egg be considered a creature if it's alive?
Yeah.
Would you? Okay. I'm not going to do it now. But my thought is, if I wanted to keep it safe somehow to protect it from damage,
sure,
I could.
It makes sense to me.
It only lasts for a minute, but in a situation that might require it, I was just curious. So
yeah.
Okay.
So once your wagon shows up, Bird does get up on the stone. All right, that's enough. No more touching. If you want to pet it, kiss it, hug it, lick it, you gotta talk to these gentlemen. They bought it for 200 gold. And he looks over at you and he just winks.
Well, that's on his conscience, I suppose.
Cal just kind of
yeah. Well,
they must have about 100 frickin' pounds of copper coins at this point.
Dude, they have so many. Like, Cal at this point has had to take off his shirt, and it's just laid out there covered in copper and some silver and there's even some jewelry that's up there that it's probably only worth 5 copper, but people have traded that. And there's even one lady traded a fresh baked pie. And so he starts to tie it up into a bindle, right?
When I bring him the pouch of gold, by the way, I say, here's the gold we promised. Would you like us to count it out loud for you, so that there's no?
No, that's okay. We businessmen understand each other and trust fine adventurers like yourselves.
Very good. Trust is an important thing. When a man lies, he murders some part of the world. Yeah. And I kind of look at him in the face and I hand it to him and say, "You should be careful of that." And I hand him the money.
All right.
We know of your residence. I say, fucking in the lineup.
Oh well.
So they gather up their stuff,
yep.
Little bits of food people have brought them and whatnot, and they load all of it into their wagon. And Cal says he'll be right back, and he wanders off. It takes him 10-15 minutes. If you guys have,
why are we waiting for this guy?
Because he's got to go get your box.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry.
That you paid him 9 gold for, apparently.
Yeah.
So in that 10 or 15 minutes, if there's anything you guys want to do, otherwise there are going to be people that pester you about whether or not they can pay you 5 copper.
I don't know. Maybe there's some sacks on the wagon, or I might go quickly procure some blankets. Anything I can use as sort of packing snow for this box.
Sure. I mean, there's easily some of those hefty sacks that you saw being used back there. In fact, when you pick up one of them, you hear a clink and then a rrr as this marble rolls out of it and rolls across the bed of this wagon.
Okay, so I'm just trying to gather materials for that.
Yep. So it takes about 15 minutes, but Cal comes back and he's got kind of the medieval fantasy equivalent of a steamer trunk.
Nice.
And it's got a big old lock on the front of it,
Mhm.
and he's kind of dragging it behind him. It appears to be a pretty hefty chest, and he onto the back of this wagon, which kind of and settles for a second. And he produces the key. I got you a lock, no extra charge. And he opens it up, and there are what looks like women's dresses inside this, like just hastily sort of shoved.
Well, and you purchased this legally?
Well, I got the trunk from one of the sailors and the dresses from over at the Glass Fish. It's not like the ladies wear them when they're working anyway. Know what I mean?
Lovely. Well,
Okay, you're packing your egg in prostitute dresses.
Yeah, it works.
I've done stranger things.
Lingerie.
So yeah, so we'll pack it in whatever today I was able to get. We want to pack it in good and snug so that it's padded and
Sure.
then indeed close it, lock it up, say, all right, show's over. Thank you for your interest, but we must be going.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do the arms crossed glower again.
Steve, after we get it all loaded and stuff like that, you said like a steamer trunk. So whatever handles or straps are on that thing, I'm going to use rope and lash the trunk to the inside of the wagon so it doesn't shift.
No problem. The wagon's actually designed for that, so it's got almost
Cool.
I don't know what you'd call them, but like almost like belaying pins that you can drop into the slat board in the back
Oh,
at
neat,
different
yeah.
lengths.
Right.
To be able to, so it's got that. You're able to lash it down real well. The trunk itself is all wood with 2 metal bands, and then the handles are cord of some sort, or like a hempen rope that someone has punched through and tied large knots on the other side of it.
Right. But just to keep it from rattling around
Sure.
if it has to move any faster.
Do you guys remember Time Bandits?
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember the scene with Robin Hood, where where he's trying to give things to people and his associates just punching people as they take them? That's kind of like that's kind of like Tadeo and my character. I'm kind of the Robin Hood one. It's like he's like, wham! Is that absolutely necessary? Is it? Oh, okay, fine, good.
Yeah, that's right. They get a punch in the face with their.
Okay. So it takes you guys, 20 minutes or so to get the egg in there and packed and tied down and cinched, and another 10 or so to get people to get out of the way. Right. And what are you guys doing?
I guess we headed a town in the direction that they
claim to have found it.
described.
Yeah.
Okay. So the wagon will sit 2 up front, and then the other 2 of you could ostensibly be in the back with the crate with no problems. And so who's in the back and who's up front with? I'm assuming today I was still driving.
Yeah.
Fine with me. I was leading it. I wasn't even riding.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
whoever wants to drive it, drive it. I just kind of need to know where people are.
Yeah, I'm not great at animal handling. I'll stay in the back.
Yeah. I'll lead. I'll drive it. That's fine.
All right, Tug, are you in the front or back?
Oh,
Or I don't care, wherever people want to be.
I'll ride up front.
Okay.
I don't particularly like this egg.
So Tadeo and Tug are in the back.
Feet hanging
All right.
off the back end of it.
All right. So you guys, you start, and the way that the town is sort of terraced, right? You go down and kind of back towards the docks before you swing back and head out on a path that is roughly sea level. It's 15 feet ish above. Right, there's a little bit of a cliff there, and as you guys you get to there's a stone obelisk about 6 feet tall that kind of marks the edge of town. Right. It's almost like one of those things in cities where, city maintenance no longer, for these roads, or roads no longer maintained by city maintenance type deal. And you go out
The other
and
side it says to
right. Yeah, I mean, really it does. Like on the other side it says Skelligsport. And so you guys head out, and the road there is a tiny dirt path that you can hook left, and it kind of takes you out to the graveyard for Father Johnson's temple, and a little bit further out is what everyone refers to as a ranger's hut. It's really kind of like the last camping spot before you would be going up into the mountains to head into the northern wilds. And then the road actually bends and kind of follows the coastline for a bit before it then splits and goes back up into the farmlands. And so, assuming you guys aren't going to try and bury the egg in the cemetery,
that's plan B.
That's plan B.
Yeah.
If you plant it and water it, you might even be able to grow your own dragon. So you head right, and it's I mean, for the most part, pretty easy going. Right, it's a pleasant day. The most annoying portion of it is the seagulls like constantly cawing out off the coastline there. The horse, very, very manageable. It's more pulling the wagon out of training than necessarily out of your driving. And so you swing down, and it's a 30-minute ride or so before it finally cuts back up, and the road continues along the coast in a southerly direction, and then there is a turn that takes you east back into the farmland. So the road kind of splits here. And as you guys are coming up to that split, you can see some oncoming horsemen from the south. And they are riding not at an exhausting pace, but at a very purposeful pace.
All right.
So I'm assuming that to this point we saw a few travelers. So what's different about this group that catches our attention?
So the speed that they're moving at, everyone else has. Some people move with a worker's purpose, right? Like they have to get this wagon of beets to the town.
Shuffle.
Yeah, right. Other people are just out visiting neighbors, right? You do occasionally see like driveways, right? Little paths that go off to homes in the woods. People who don't live in Skelligsport but are the closest residents just outside of. And you'll see them. They're out talking to a neighbor, or they're hacking down a tree. But what catches your eye about the oncoming riders is A, they're all armored, and B, they're moving like quickly. And so even as you're sort of riding up and talking amongst yourselves, you can hear the of their horses before you even necessarily look up and see them coming towards you.
Well, as a knight, I understand, the duties of such individuals. So I immediately, pull respectfully off to the side, not wanting to interfere with their business, presuming, assuming they look like upstanding knights or the equivalent.
So as they get closer, you can see it's a group of about eight individuals. Riding at the front of them is he sits very tall in the seat. He's very slender, very sort of gentle features. He is armored in a chain shirt and has some sort of symbol livery. on his chest.
Livery.
Yeah. Behind him are two individuals who are dressed less ostentatious. They are wearing hardened leather, it looks like. Very soft looking boots as they approach. They're identical twins and obviously elves. And the other group are kind of your sort of nondescript sort of stormtroopery elves. They're all in armor. They all have the identical helmet on, and it comes down, and all you can see is that sort of pointed jawline of the elf, and then this long blondish hair coming out the back of their helmets. All the horses are white or silver, and they come up, and as they see you sort of pull off, you see the contingent, the 5 of them, drop back as the twins and the head guy kind of slow their rush and still at a rapid trot come up to you guys, and the leader just oh there, a word if we could.
Of course.
So they slow their rush for us. Okay.
Of course. What can we do for you this fine day?
Well, assuming that you're not coming out of the north, I would assume that you're from Skellig's port.
Indeed, we are.
Good.
We've been living there for some time now, and we quite enjoy it. You've never been?
I was wondering if you could help us. We had an item stolen from us, and believe that the 2 individuals who took it might have come to Skellig's port.
Well, unfortunately, we are in the process of an important job of our own, but we'd be happy to help you if your problem persists after, say, nightfall. We should be done by then.
I understand. You wouldn't happen to have heard or seen 2 young men coming into town? They would have had a large egg with them.
Huh.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, I know. Is it not entirely sure. What is the nature of this egg?
It was purchased by
We see many eggs, chicken eggs and goose eggs. And
no, I understand. No, this would have been
occasional crocodile egg.
2 feet, 3 foot, 2.5 feet in diameter. It's large.
A large beast indeed. What
Reddish in color.
What could have laid such an object?
A dune scorpion from the south. Merchant lord had purchased it for his menagerie, and these 2 young men apparently took it from, well, some of my men, I'm ashamed to say.
I see.
So internally, I'm bursting to tell this guy.
I know.
Waiting on my companions to see what they do.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get a feel for him, particularly to see if he's, obfuscating in any way, and if So, but I'm gonna prod him before I sort of try and figure that out. And this is it sounds like a dangerous beast to be flitting around the countryside. What purpose?
Lord Mornin. You may or may not have heard of him. He's a merchant by. I mean, sure, it would be like someone saying, Jeff Bezos, right? Like,
okay,
you know who he is, but you know,
right? Yeah, okay.
A merchant by trade and lord by birth. He has a what am I thinking of? What's the word? It's not a farm. It's where you keep a bunch of animals.
A zoo?
No. Like rich country people have them.
Oh,
an estate or a place where they roam free.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
Refuge?
No,
like a refuge.
Safari park.
The safari
Dang it.
refuge.
Whatever that thing, whatever the word is, it's like Val Kilmer owns one. Tom Cruise owns one.
A ranch?
Thank you.
Ranch,
He
okay.
has a large abode on a ranch a bit west east of here. He collects exotic animals. And this was one of his most recent purchases. You can't bring the adults this far. They don't travel well on boats, and they are difficult to deal with. Even the juvenile, where it's a hatch from the egg, the venom would kill a man even on its birth.
Huh.
So if you do see of it or hear of it, the two young men who stole it, one of them a larger lad, red of hair, and the other one a denser lad, dark of hair, or reddish dark of hair.
Well, I'm going to look around to my companions and kind of take their eye to see if what their sort of feelings are about it.
My feelings are obvious. I'm staring at you burning holes in you like, why are you still not killing this guy?
Tadeo's back there like...
Tug's looking off at a bird, you know.
So,
all right. So, well, I'm going to say, well, as a matter of fact, we
you hear this like huge horn call out.
Never mind.
And everyone's head snaps the direction of the farmlands up that way. And if you have never seen a warg, this will be your first time ever seeing this. There are horse-sized wolves with riders coming down the path towards you guys as you are speaking. The horn...
Riders or...
What's that?
Humanoid riders?
They are humanoid riders.
Oh, okay.
There are only 3 of them. But they're coming this way. One of them is blowing this horn. A second comes out, and the horn seems familiar to the knights that you're talking to, as a lot of them shink and like swords are coming out.
Yeah,
and they are dismounting.
All right. So once they do that, I'm doing the same thing. I'm gonna jump off the wagon. I'll stand beside it. I'll hold my sword like right straight in front of me, up and down.
Yeah, I say we should stay within reach of the wagon, however.
Of course.
The guy who's been doing all the talking, he looks at you and damned orcs, and he also swings off of his horse.
How
go ahead.
I was just saying, how long would I estimate before they're upon us? A minute, seconds?
Yeah. A minute if they keep the same pace, maybe a little bit less if they start rushing.
Okay.
Like the wolves are moving at a pretty good clip.
Okay, I'm just going to call a spell to mind to have it at the ready.
Sure. So he does not draw a sword off of a scabbard from his belt. He instead pulls this ridiculously... It's a two-handed sword. He pulls from his scabbard on the side of his horse. And I mean, you just hear like... It seems like forever. Shink! As it comes out, and he holds it in front of himself, and he kind of looks over at you, Tadeo, and looks your katana up and down, like at the
ginta, but yeah,
the ginta at the length of it, and then kind of the same with his, and they're pretty comparable.
Okay.
But he also takes up a defensive stance. It's the kind of the way you get a feel for it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are we saying are we thinking that we had time to get our gear to go, or did we not?
Yeah, you guys could have gotten your gear. You could have gotten lunch.
Okay.
Yeah. I know it took us a while to do all that stuff. So.
Yeah.
Well, it took us 10 minutes just to get out of freaking town. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay, I just wanted to know.
People wanted to keep stopping you and asking you about dragon eggs.
Yeah.
I kept having to say to them, "Lego my ego."
Yeah.
Wow, 5 points of damage.
So I reached psychic damage. Yeah. So I reached
Fair
into the
enough.
back of the wagon where my bag is, and laying next to it are some javelins. I pick them up, and I kind of, standing on the cart, get ready. As soon as they're in range, I'll start loosing them at these things.
Okay. The two twin elves did not dismount. Both of them have bows that are made for being shot from horseback.
Okay.
And so you see that they've pulled the bows out, and they're doing the very. It looks goofy in movies, but is real. So they have an arrow in the hand that's holding the bow, and then they have one knocked because that's faster than it is to reach back down and pull. So
yeah, lots faster.
You can tell like there's some skill to the twins. In fact, they look more comfortable and skilled where they are than even the guy with the big sword does.
Nice.
And yeah, the warg riders continue to close, and there's another that calls out, and then the leader, the guy, the orc that's in front, shouts something, but it's kind of drowned out by a. It's in Elvish, but there's a very clipped military term that's called out, and the five riders kind of line up in front of all of you, and they are shield, and they have a sword that is going through the shield, right? So it's like shield, sword, shield, sword, and they are like the shields are even angled back.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I'm going to stand up on the cart so I can kind of see over them. And like I said, as soon as these things get within, I'll wait till normal range. So say 30
60 feet. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's 30 and 120 is the range. So
okay. So
I'll wait till they're within 30 feet before I loose a couple of javelins.
Yeah. The round or 10 seconds or so before they get to us, I'm going to cast a spell which lasts a minute. I'm casting Sacred Weapon.
Okay.
So my blade will start to glow.
Tug, what are you doing?
Standing up in the back of the cart. Oh, I'm more or less in front, between the chest and them, the oncomers. Shield and hammer.
All right. DBJ?
I've gotten down from the cart. I really don't even want to be near this egg or this fight, so I'm holding onto my staff. And I feel the sickness bubbling within me. So I may use an aggressive spell if they come close.
Okay. So the riders continue, and they hit that 30-foot mark, and all of this will sort of simultaneously happen, right? Like you can throw your spell if you wish. Alex, you can shoot or throw your javelins. The twins are going to shoot, and the rider is going to call out at the exact same time. So if everyone just wants to go ahead and make their rolls, and then we'll go to an initiative.
Sure. All right. This javelin. Ooh, not bad.
Yeah, my spell just affects me.
Okay.
So it's not an attack of any kind. It's just a buff.
16 for the javelin.
All right, your javelin will hit.
Okay. For 4 hit points.
Okay.
I'm gonna go after if it looks like one to be in front or the leader.
It does.
Yeah, probably the one with the horn. I'll go for them. So 4 points, and then I'll immediately switch to my my sword and shield.
All right. DJ, are you casting?
Yeah.
All right. Go for it.
I pull my mask down from my quite attractive eyes and show the nasty scars and stuff on the bottom of my face. And there's my DC. Oh, ugh, that's nasty. All right. Yeah, I rolled a 1.
Okay. You miss.
I vomit on myself.
Bleh.
It was supposed to be ass. I vomit on myself.
The twins both shoot, and the one of the arrows hits pretty true on the what is now obviously a female rider. The other arrow misses, and the two back riders kind of peel off the path a little bit. As the lead rider, you can see he has handfuls of hair, like fur of this warg. He doesn't have like a bridle or a bit rather, and so he pulls on it with his one hand, and he holds up the other, and he starts waving it, and he's saying, "Peace, peace."
Ooh. Oh, okay.
It's like 4 points of damage.
That probably just made gave him a scratch in his shoulder. There was nothing.
Right. I mean, it's definitely wedged in. He's definitely bleeding from it, but
yeah. All right. Yeah. So I immediately like I lower my sword, but not my shield, and I kind of hold out my hand to my companions. Hold it.
You can see that the twins are re-knocking arrows.
Mm-hmm.
Another call it comes from the head elf, and the contingent of 5 start moving forward, and it's sort of like ka-chunk.
Oh, ka-chunk. Okay. Well, I'm going to how close are they to the wagon?
30 feet.
Okay.
Oh, wait, the guards or
the guards? Yeah.
Oh, 5 feet, 10 feet.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna run and kind of vault over the horse, and I'm gonna try to land in front of them if I can.
Okay. Yeah. I guess give me an athletics roll. Acrobatics roll.
Acrobatics. Yeah.
So you see
either one. Athletics, either one doesn't matter.
So you're vaulting
12.
the horse and leaning closer to the orcs, which are advancing the shield wall, right?
No. The guards who were looking for the egg are advancing as a shield wall.
Mm-hmm.
I'm landing in front of them.
Oh, okay.
Between them and the orcs. So 13.
Okay, so it's not the most fantastic vault of all time, but you land in front of them.
Yeah, so I put out my hands and say, "Hold." They're parlaying.
All right. The
tear down that wall.
The head elf calls out something, and they immediately come to like a shunk, sort of stop, and you can see like their swords are razor sharp, and they stopped like inches from you. Like it was not you being in between them and the orcs that stopped them. It was the call that like these guys would have walked through you.
Yeah.
It's their job.
Yep.
And
I'll turn and look at the orc to see how they react to it.
So the two the one with the horn is the leader sitting in the street or the road. The one with the horn is off the path, and he's sitting there. He has a sort of crude looking morning star. The spikes on it look more like they are claws and fangs rather than metal protrusions, metal spikes.
Right. Yeah.
The female, you can see her wolf sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much her.
Okay. Oh wait, so her but we can't see her at all.
She when she peeled off, she like dove off the wolf. Like you saw her leave the back of the wolf, and the wolf the warg, and the warg is sitting there, but she is somewhere in the runty trees, scrubby brush that will soon become a little bit of forest before you get through it and hit farm.
I'm gonna shout over my shoulder, tug guard box.
Tug just sits on it.
Yeah, pretty much. That'll work. So I kind of look at the guards and I look back at this orc leader, and realize what a shitty position this is to be in. And I guess I'll say to the orc, what is the meaning of all this?
So he swings down from the back of this this large wolf, which then sits and kind of scratches itself a little bit. And he has no weapons in his hands, and he's making that very obvious. Yeah. He does, however, have a thick corded rope on his left hip. He has a sap, but it's too big to be, even for him, it's too big to be a sap for people, right? Like you wouldn't club somebody with this. And then he has two curved short swords / daggers that sit behind him. Yeah. And he's walking his way. Now he is as he gets closer, you can, if you've seen half orcs before, you tell he's a half orc, right? He's way more human featured in this part of him, but is still very tusky in this part. All right. And he's wearing furs. In fact, he looks a bit warm as he kind of walks forward.
I'll sheath my sword and just swing my shield onto my back, and I'll put my hands up in a similar fashion.
Okay. So yeah, he approaches and he looks past you.
Yeah.
To the elves. Are we done shooting? And he slowly lowers his hands.
Well, for my part, I am, unless you give me reason to return to it. You did come charging up in a rather aggressive manner.
Blowing a war horn.
Indeed.
Hunting horn. But I understand the confusion.
Yes. Well, we do not wish to be your prey, so it's still provocative.
Yes, I apologize.
Steve, I'm watching where the lady dove off into the scrub. I'm paying more attention to what's going on over there.
You can give me a perception check if you want to.
Like I'm going to see anything. Tug's not the sharpest knife.
Perceptive?
He's not the sharpest knife out of the drawer.
Right.
How about a 7?
Okay. You don't see her, but what you do see, because I doubt Tug's ever seen one before, there is an intelligence behind the eyes of that wolf, like human intelligence.
Okay.
And I mean, I think maybe even more so for Tug than anybody else, like it might be a little unsettling to see that.
Yeah, it's smarter than he is.
Right.
Probably actually. It's got an 11 intelligence. It's it's smarter than Tug. But and you can see it is surveying your group as much as you are them, right? I'm gonna narrate as I walk downstairs because my dog needs to go outside.
Okay.
So come on, let's go. So the leader, he extends a hand to you, Balthus. I'm York.
Balthus, a pleasure to meet you, sir. Now, I'm not sure what your relationship is to these gentlemen, but we have no quarrel with either group.
No. And at the moment, we have no quarrel with them. He pulls your javelin out of his shoulder, and he hands it back to you, bloody and all. It was a good throw.
Thank you. You took it well.
I have been stuck by more than javelins. The reason for the horn. One of the... And you see he like looks for the word and then kind of shrugs. Wolves picked up a scent of what we were looking for. And we had thought that maybe we'd catch up to it.
I kind of look back at Tadeo and like kind of catch his eye.
In the most samurai way I can, I'm gonna do like a face palm.
Right.
How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet? Look, go on.
It's a matter of honor. I have lost one of my charges.
Have you?
Yes.
That's a shame. Is what makes you think he or she would be this way?
From what my understanding is, there were two individuals that came to the nest and took it.
I see.
I've seen this movie before.
If you cannot... Yes, we are looking for an egg.
I guess I'm going to go look at the leader of these elves.
Yeah. What an astonishing coincidence. Yeah. What an astonishing coincidence, I say, as I turn around and face the elves.
So you could see that he's got a look on his face that's somewhere between he's lying and oh crap. If you might have seen it, and he holds his hands up and indicates about 2.5 feet.
I might have seen it.
It is reddish in color.
And what is the nature of this egg, if I may ask? What will hatch out of it eventually?
It is a giant eagle.
Giant eagle. Let's see. And in my head, I'm going through the list of dragon, owlbear, scorpion,
Doom scorpion,
eagle. It's like, wow.
I know. You know they're all wrong because it's probably a basilisk or something.
Right. No, those are smaller and darker in color. Don't ask me how I know. But indeed, and how is this your charge? I mean, how did you come to be in charge of it?
Family has done. We raised them.
Oh, indeed. May I ask the purpose? Are they mounts for you? Are they big enough for that? Are they birds of prey you train, or
when
is it a conservancy effort? Are they
they're endangered?
Are they endangered?
No. When he smiles. When we are younger, we do ride them. But later on, they are more for scouting.
I see.
They are quite intelligent, like the wolves here. Many creatures in the north have grown to be smarter than you would think.
So it would seem.
What is the face of this elven leader who claimed it's a doom scorpion?
It's growing to be angrier, and so he eventually like pushes through his line, like they move for him, and he comes up. A typical story for barbarians from the north.
Is it? This is the first I've met a few barbarians from the north, and I've never heard them mention an egg. But if you say so,
It's likely that they were the ones that employed the two young men to steal our egg. And of course, the orcs, what? And he bulls up too. And so, like, these guys are now standing like face to face.
Yeah.
Well, none of this can turn us. We'll be seeing you.
Good luck finding your egg.
Yeah.
Shuffle off to the side.
Yeah.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling.
Gentlemen. I'm sure there's an easy way to solve this. I am something of a I've studied diplomacy in my training, and I'd be happy to sit down with you and perhaps negotiate to discuss who, in fact, does own the egg.
So they both turn and look at you, and like simultaneously, you know where it is.
I'm saying that both of you are clearly in search of the same thing. So wouldn't it do better to figure out who belongs to before you end up slaughtering each other?
The orc, he's still like steely glaring at this the elf, and he looks over at you. He looks towards the wagon.
Yeah,
and then he calls out, this one word in orc is like up talk, and you see all three of the wolves start like sniffing the air.
I wonder how smelly these women's dresses are.
I actually literally just had that same thought. I was like,
we just packed it in prostitute garments, so I think we might be okay. Plus, let's face it, Tug hasn't washed in a while, and he's sitting on it. So, I mean, we get a good smoke screen going there.
Sure.
I don't know.
So as the wolves start sniffing, and they start
a big beat burrito last night, I think too.
The two that don't have riders start kind of meandering. The way dogs like sniff on the ground and then look. So they start doing that, and the leader elf, he snaps his fingers, and the two twins dismount, and they start looking around. like no one's like, the elves are not directly walking to your wagon because, I mean, there is a bit of discourteousness that comes with that.
Nails.
Might have to make a run for it.
Not yet.
Okay, so I'm going to suggest, if this egg is found, who will claim it? And look at both of the leaders.
So the half orc, I will take it home and return it and raise it. It belongs to my clan. And the elf is, no, it is ours, and we will take it home. We will return it to the merchant who owns it. It's so like your people to lie. All you do is come down from the north and pillage and take. And the two boys that would work for you, what would drive someone to work for a half-breed?
Now, hold on there. That's completely uncalled for. That's
He just sort of indignantly gestures at him like, well, he's obviously a half-breed, and that's disgusting.
Yeah, my opinion of this elf is dropping rapidly.
I sense some bleeding. I sense some character bleeding.
I'm correct, therefore I'm right.
Right. About this time, you the female orc, and she is fully orc, steps out of the scrub brush, and you're not really quite sure how you didn't notice her to begin with, because it's not like she's a tiny person.
Ghillie suit.
Right, yeah, she's just covered in grass. She just glued it to herself. But she comes out, and she is talking in Orcish to the wolf that, if you remember correctly, is the one she was riding. and it kind of whines and barks a little bit at her, and she steps forward and one of them has it. She's indicating the elves, not you guys. Or at least it's close by.
I got a crazy plan.
Yeah, I kind of, I'm diplomacy's not working, so I'm gonna go back and to the four my companions. You know, as we kind of sit near the wagon. Do you mention your crazy plan at all?
I'm going to in a second. I want to see what you have to say first.
So, as
one
you guys
of them
kind
is
of
clearly lying, but I'll say to Belfast, one of them is clearly lying.
Yes.
As you guys huddle
How
back,
can we know who to trust?
I'm not sure. Well, we can wait for it to hatch. one says it's an eagle, one says it's a scorpion. They can't be both.
The elf and
I hope not.
the orc are kind of berating each other back and forth. Yeah. But you can definitely feel the tension growing, right? Like the two unmounted wolves have now come up to the back of the orc and are kind of almost like they're backing him up. That shield wall has not budged a moment, and one of the twins has taken less interest into looking around and is now, you can see that he is very quietly slipping around.
So I'm going to say to Belfast, give me the key to the trunk.
All right. Yeah, so I'll do that. I'll take it out of my pocket and hand it to him.
All right. It's a role-playing game. I'm going to climb onto the wagon. I'm going to unlock the trunk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm going to flip the lid open, and I'm going to hold the egg up in sight.
Well, hold on.
Sorry.
The tug.
Because he's sitting on the box.
I'm sitting on the box. I'm flipping the lid. It's going to be a bit difficult.
Okay. So I will say, move. A confrontation is about to begin. Have your weapon at the ready.
Let's play some keep away.
Nails.
So I'm going to open the box. I'm going to show the egg to all, and then I'm going to put it back down in the box, and I'm going to hold my sword up, point down on, resting on the egg, like kind of daring. If either one of you comes, this egg's going to be toast. No one gets it.
Gulp.
King Solomon. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the orcs all respond in orcish because the shock value of it has pulled them out of common real quick. But you do see that her name's Pura, the female orc, that she also has this sort of wickedly curved sword that she pulls out and is holding ready, which then incites the 5 guards. They've kind of, instead of being a line, they've kind of broken now, so they're more like a wedge, and 2 of them are facing her and the other 3 are kind of facing the lead orc. And the elf just looks at you and like you can see contempt like just boil in his face real fast.
We have heard 3 stories today, and we were about to tell you. We have heard 3 stories today, different tales claiming ownership and the contents of this egg. At best, one is telling the truth. That will be resolved, or none shall have the egg.
And who do you think you are to tell me that I can't or can't have what belongs to my master?
I am the one with the sword above that which you seek.
That would be a very, very dumb mistake.
Then prove the truth of what you say.
So you can see that both the twins are now looking directly at you.
I say, I have no doubt that there are magics available that can identify the creature inside the egg. Perhaps we can use that magic. In fact, I believe you can do it, can't you? And I kind of stare pointedly at which character's name?
Yes.
Yes. I stare pointedly at Yaz. You can do it. That's right. That spell you showed me. You can identify a living creature just by touching it and doing that incantation you showed me.
Sure.
Don't be modest. I know you just learned it, but
Right.
I know you can do it. You identified the difference. You identified that crocodile egg in the tavern the other night. You know that won us that bet.
Paladin of Deception.
No.
So
Paladin of bullshit.
yeah. So either Yaz or Belfast can make the deception roll, and the other one can roll if they get above a 10. You can add a +2 to the other person's roll. I don't care who wants to roll, but
You be good at this. What the hell? Come on. What the hell just happened? All right, there we go. Let's grab a die, roll something for some reason, for something. Okay. Well, that's a 10. Great. That means I'm pretty much right in the middle. Oh, +2 deception. Yeah, I'm all right.
Well, who you're rolling? Does he get a?
yeah, you roll as long as you're above a 10.
Yeah, who's going to make the deception speech? I think he's saying.
Yeah, essentially, I don't care which way it goes. One, he's going to receive a +2 to a roll.
9 and 3 is 12 for me.
All right, so it's exactly the same either way. It's a 14 no matter how it goes.
Yep.
The head elf looks like he buys it. The Yerk doesn't. Like he gives you that look, Yaz, like, I work with creatures every day of my life, and but he doesn't say that. Fine, if you know such spell, we can do this.
Gulp.
Very good. So, but he doesn't seem nervous about that prospect at all.
No, neither one of them seem nervous about it.
Well, right, but one didn't believe us.
Well, yeah. So Yerk, who gave you that look of "I don't believe you," but he doesn't. Like, you don't know if he's not nervous because he knows you can't do that spell, or because he's confident to the end.
Okay, okay, because that's why I was wondering if is it that he thinks we're lying about the spell, or now what about his other people? Did any of them fall for it, or? So, I mean, they would presumably know if he was telling the truth or not, I would think.
You're trying to make this determination through like facial expressions and
I'm not just looking at him. I'm looking at his whole retinue and.
So the hornblower is still on his wolf and doesn't really seem attached to the conversation so much as he is. You can see that he is looking towards you, but his eyes are following the twin who is slipping around. Like, he has that sort of, I'm not looking at him, but I'm looking at him. And Pura, when you say that, she looks to Yerk, and when he says that's fine, she gives that look like maybe there's something she doesn't know.
Okay.
But the head elf's name's Athiel. He buys it.
Okay.
Fine. Let's be on with this. Will you do the incantation here, or do we need to go back to your town?
No. What do you need, guys?
I lean close to Belfast and I say, I can make a big show of it. I can even escape with the egg, as limited in endurance as I am, but I don't know what is inside of it. I could even crack its shell, but then there's no coming back.
One of them is deceiving us, and the only way to smoke them out is to get one of them to show their hand. If you've ever played games of chance, so we're bluffing.
Okay.
So as much theater as you can put into it.
Okay. All right. I unwrap my hands. They're like you can see like the scars and like pus-filled bumps are on the back of my hands. They're a little bit palsied, kind of, and a green gas starts coming out. It's basically a mage hand, and I have the egg. I try to because the egg's too big for that. Ooh, no. Anyway, and
I'll
a
keep my
mist.
sword on it as you're doing this.
Yeah, and a mist starts coming out of my hands as it starts to surround the egg. As I start to say these enchantments that I learned in wizard school the first year, and I look over at Belfast and I look around and I say, the egg, it is neither an eagle or a bird. It is neither insectoid. It is not a scorpion at all. Both of them are lying.
I raise my eyebrows. Well, this is an interesting turn, isn't it? And I turn to the crowd and look at them.
So Athiel, he steps back and like he is now holding his sword in a very not nice manner. And he amateurs and charlatans.
Not knowing that Yaz faked it, I'm going to say, you agreed to take his word at it. He has cast his magic, and he has told you the truth. Now you would cast aspersions upon him?
Yes.
Hmm.
The two who stole this egg are in town.
That's true.
But until we know who the true owners are, my vows will not let me give it up.
That's true. We do have witnesses in town. We should return there. You're all welcome to accompany us.
Unless they've taken their coin and decided to depart.
Oh, we
What,
haven't
they
gone
moved?
that long.
You would have to have come. They would have to have come your way to go back to
Yeah.
their farm.
And we haven't gone that long. It's not like we've been traveling for days already. It's just
Right. No, you guys have gone. You guys have been like you're like 45 minutes outside of town.
right.
Yeah, well, for all they knew, I mean, they told the truth, right? I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, they didn't
Everything
seem,
up with the dragon part.
they didn't seem, like they could sustain a good lie. I mean,
Yeah, they didn't seem bright enough, yeah.
yeah,
That was the con. They're the most notorious thieves in the world.
yeah, that's right. Let's go,
Yeah.
Jonathan. We fooled some more with our brilliance. We go off.
That was actually Birdman of Alcatraz.
Right.
Right.
So you can. So you see Athiel, and he has this look on his face. And for those of you who have been in larger scale encounters. So like maybe our two paladin friends. You can tell he is weighing the odds of just ordering his guys to kill you. Like he has you completely outnumbered.
True. I will press the point to the egg. It's really, I think, my best leverage at this point.
So as your sword, the point of it just touches it, right? You get that momentary like fork on dinner plate sound, which is horrible.
Yeah,
I hate that sound. But you also, because you have your spiritual weapon like on the egg, right?
It's actually, my weapon itself is glowing. It's sacred weapon now.
Sacred, that's what I meant. Sorry. So you actually feel the egg sucks a little bit of that energy away from your sword. Not enough to dismiss the spell, but like you can see it. But you've used the spell multiple times. You can see the flicker of that spell as it kind of, and then just goes back to being normal.
So now I know that giant eagles and dune scorpions are not magical. So now I'm 100% convinced that Yaz is right and his spell worked.
I've got one chance to get this away from them. But if we need to,
fine.
Make a run for
we'll accompany you back to your town.
Excellent.
And speak with the orcishly employed thieves. Give me one moment.
I will hold my arm steady, but ride as gently as you can. I'll say to Belfast, but I say it in a way that's more to warn the other guys to back the fuck out.
Yeah. And I'll try to talk to you today, kind of quietly, and I say, this is getting very, very complicated.
The truth is not always easy. It is clear that both these groups are lying, and perhaps the thieves as well.
No, to be fair, so are we. But at least we're doing.
I have told no lies.
Yeah.
I look around like, don't be including me in your crimes, buddy. Well, we're both arsonists, technically. I mean, I told you about the matches.
So York also, yes, we will go with you. And then he looks to you, Belfast, and knowing that there is some amount of cunning that happens in your brain.
Yep.
He then turns and he walks towards Tug. And Tug, he's roughly your size. Like he's a pretty big dude. And he extends this hand, and if you've ever seen someone's hand is like owns 150 cats, like that constant, like they always have those lines where they've been scratched, not like in a they're trying to kill me way, but like in a they were playing and forgot they had claws kind of way. He has it up and down his right arm, and he reaches up and he puts his hand on your hand that's holding your hammer. Friend, will they welcome us there?
And he looks back at Belfast back there and goes, I don't know what to say.
I'm going to try and remember if while I was in town I saw any half-orcs.
So there's been a couple of half-orc sailors, and they were pretty welcoming of a goblin pirate.
Yeah, it's true. Why would they not be?
And he looks at you with the sword to his egg, and then he turns and looks at the elves, because there are some that do not understand us and would judge us by how we look and not by how we act. I am not saying we are angels. I have killed. But pillaging and stealing are not things that we do.
Hey, Steve, can I ask you kind of a mechanical question?
Yep.
How do you handle like good and evil magic in your world? Like, for example, if I detect good and evil, like generally speaking, I don't have any, usually don't have characters that are all evil or all good, or
Right.
would I be able to
So
I know I can't use it as a lie detector, but
my thought on the spell,
yeah,
because it is sort of a trope of D&D, right?
yeah.
So there are monsters that are just evil, right? They are literally forces of evil.
Undead,
demons.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But when
Agreed.
it comes
Devils.
to people, I think what you get is if they're a genuinely good person, even if they've committed a murder, right? You get this sort of sliding scale. But if someone's standing there thinking, I'm going to go murder that old lady,
Yeah.
it kind of registers, like you get more like what their intent is and not what their being is.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
if the psychopath is eating lunch,
Well,
Yeah,
exactly. Like if you have a worshiper of Cyric, like, and you're like detect evil, it doesn't work. He's just crazy.
Yeah.
unless he's eating devil eggs.
But
Right, or if he's sitting there chewing on human flesh underneath a sign that says humans are not food.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm going to take the chance anyway. So as we're beginning to get ready in turn, I'll like bow my head and hold my holy symbol, these 6 silver rings that are all sort of interconnected, and after a prayer, I open my eyes, and they seem to be glowing a bit more, with an inner fire as I kind of begin, and I'm going to look around. Just kind of, I'm not trying to stare at anyone in particular, but I'm trying to gaze around the group,
sure,
and see if any of them have any. I guess it would be evil intent to them.
Maybe the lead elf.
So it's really weird, right? Like, because trying to do colors would be hard, but like, if we're looking at a scale of 1 to like scale of like 0 to 10, right? Like 0 is the Pope, and 10 is Manson or Hitler, right?
Yeah.
So like when you glance over at Pura, right? You kind of get she's a good person, but she has pushed like 7 and 8 before. It's kind of the and Yerk is kind of the same way. Like only maybe he's like a 5 or a 6, right? Like but there's no active like I'm gonna murder you. Athiel is probably it's really weird. Like you keep seeing like I'm a good person at like a 3, but then you also see some like 7, but then that 7 convinces itself it's only a 3.
Right.
The
two
things for good reasons.
The 2 twins, whose names are Benway and Carthanus. The one who like started skirting around, that dude is like he is straight up thinking murder. Like,
okay, good to know.
Like his intent is he's going to kill someone. Like there's that sort of tinge to him. And the other one you can't see anything like about him, nothing at all.
Okay,
like
that's creepy.
Blank.
That's disturbing.
The elves themselves, like the 5, are kind of
in between,
in between,
just average, Okay.
The guy on the wolf that hasn't gotten off, he's probably like in that 3 realm, but you can tell that he is climbing up that. But the horn he has registers as like a solid 5.
Okay.
Well, while he's doing his scan, I want to respond to this orc.
Yep.
If you are honorable, and I think you must be, then why do you not believe that this egg is not what you seek? Our companion has told you there is no eagle inside.
So he looks at you, and then he looks at Yaz. Do you want me to explain it to him?
Okay. Let's hear him out.
And so he nods to you, and he steps in front of you, Tadeo, and I am honorable, but there is no magic that can do what he says it can do. I have raised and cared for many animals, both normal and then he kind of gestures back at the wolves. Ones like this. There is no spell that tells you what is inside of the egg.
They may ask why you agreed to it in the first place.
He looks over at the elves, and then back to you, and then to Tug, and then reluctantly to Tadeo. I believe that there were those amongst us who would believe your act.
That was our hope as well.
Mm-hmm.
We purchased this egg.
So
off two in
Athiel's
town.
like,
Oh, sorry.
Athiel's like, you lied again. And like this dude is angry. Like there's like you could feel the spit like traveling like 15 feet. Like
Yeah.
So I'm gonna look at Yaz like, why? And then I'm looking at Belfast and thinking,
why would you lie to me? the paladin is so heartbroken by his own source. Why would you lie?
and then this further makes me look at Belfast and I'm thinking, I'm surrounded by deceivers here. I'm surrounded by deceptive people. Nobody here is telling me. Doug is the most trustworthy person I've met so far in this entire group.
That's because he's too dumb to lie.
Well, right. It doesn't occur to him.
Works for me.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
So you.
In fact, I am so torn by not knowing who to trust or what to believe now. I've been told 3 different stories about this egg. I know for a fact of at least 4 lies I've been told. I'm going to pray for some guidance. I'm like, what the hell should I do? Who do I trust? I mean, I don't know if I'll get any answer to my prayers, but
Are you
that's
actually
what I'm
using
gonna-
the spell guidance?
No. I'm
Okay.
just praying. I'm just silently praying to my God for some guidance. Because I don't know what the fuck to do, who to trust.
Right. So you don't really get a response, but what you do get is the egg shifts slightly under the point of your sword, and you are reminded that there's a creature inside that egg, and that the wolves out there are pretty good indicators that if Yark has any truth to what he's saying, it could have a human-like intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be what you're driving your sword through. It's like you have that moment of
Steve,
Yeah. Well,
Steve,
okay.
Yeah.
when he was doing his scan, did he pick anything up off the egg?
what?
When he was
Did I see any good or evil from the egg?
Oh yeah, no, the
Tried
egg,
that earlier.
Yeah.
Well, no, earlier he did
Well, no.
the deal where he's looking for undead.
right?
And-
Well,
Celestial,
or fiendish,
right?
Yeah, all
No,
that stuff.
no, but this egg is not celestial, but it does radiate good.
Okay.
Like oh no, that's wrong. It radiates purity.
Okay. Well, that would definitely lean it away from the scorpion. I'm thinking. At least in my mind.
Sure.
Oh,
I suppose
Draw whatever conclusion you want there.
some cultures, a scorpion could represent purity.
Well, you were saying earlier, some creatures are natively either evil or natively good.
Yeah.
So, we don't know what's in there. So he did not scan for good and evil. He scanned for celestial or fiendish.
Sure. No,
The first time, yeah.
It radiates like more purity or innocence.
Yeah.
That's a better word for it. It radiates innocence.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah, I'm not really threatening the egg so much, just trying to convince the others. Like I have no desire to do harm to this egg, but I do have a desire to see the right party gets it. That's sort of my internal monologue and struggle.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Well, we're gonna end up wheeling our wagon around, and we're all gonna be riding it. Like I'll drive it again. We can have Tug sit back on it and have the other two sort of behind guarding it.
So Athiel, and where do you think you're going? When we were going back to town, it was under the assumption that your spell was truthful, and now we know that it's not.
Oh, it revealed truth, but now we're going to go find more truth. We're going to
reveal the truth about Yaz to me.
And if I decided to take it from you,
that would be I look and I give Tug a wink rather.
Thug a lugga?
And
Tug the thug.
Tug the thug. And I say
the rust monster.
That's right.
That might be inadvisable.
You think that I'm intimidated by you?
No, I'm simply letting you know that we're not intimidated by you.
Ooh. Fight for?
I think you are mistaken as to what is inside this shell.
I think he is too.
I know what's inside there.
Oh.
It is not a dune scorpion.
Yeah.
Oh. And all of a sudden you're some sort of expert?
I do not know what the creature is, but I know it is good and noble.
He shakes his head. Creatures that are good and noble. You have not been around the world much, have you?
In any case, we're going back to town to interrogate these two young men, who both of you agree were somehow involved in this. They're the common factor in all of this, and so I think they would make excellent witnesses in this case. Don't you think?
There is also a town official there.
That's true.
Mediate this dispute impartially.
That's quite true. This is it's becoming a legal matter.
You do wish to see the thieves brought for their crimes.
Fine. But if there are any more lies, there will be repercussions.
Yes.
I look at him and I say, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, same. Staring daggers into the back of the two in the front of the wagon.
All right. So, I mean,
too black and white, buddy.
Yeah, Yark and Pura get on their wolves, and all the elves remount. And so this cavalcade of curiosities now ride back towards town.
All right.
And you're met with more than one strange look by those the neighbors that were down talking along the road. Like, they're still there talking. And
as soon as we start to get into town and we start to see people, I'm going to look for, a young kid, maybe 12, 13, in that range. Sure. And I'm gonna quickly flag him over. Boy, come here quickly.
He comes over.
I say, I'll take out a silver piece. I say, what were the names of the two? There's Bird and
Cow.
Okay, so I say, Bird and Cow.
He's like, yeah, I got the egg.
Yes, that's right. That's right. I'll give you a silver piece to find them and bring them to meet us on the road here. And I kind of point, pick a point up ahead. Get them to come there immediately. Tell them we have some new information about their egg, and there'll be an extra silver in it if you return promptly with them.
Perhaps we should also alert the local law, Mayor Bell.
Does this town have local law? Really?
So it has that weird constable, but it does have the lady who essentially owns the town.
Yeah. I guess we'll pick another kid then and give him the same offer to go get her.
Okay.
So I'll choke up 4 silver pieces, assuming they do all this.
Perhaps we should gather some town witnesses too, that all may see truth done today.
All right, so.
All right, so you guys, are you gathering them all outside town, or are you going into town?
No, we'll meet in town, like in a. I don't remember the layout.
Let's go to that stone. Let's go to that big stone.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah. We'll just head there. Yeah.
Okay.
So I will have said then to have those 2 guys meet us there. I do turn to today and I say, be sure to keep an eye on the 2 young men when they approach. I want to see what their reactions are to our parties of guests. See if they react to one or the other.
Yes. I think I am getting more practice lately at spotting deceivers.
Oh, good. It's always good to improve your skills.
Okay. So it takes maybe it takes you guys probably 10-ish minutes to get into town and back to that stone, because people kind of slow down in front of you as they look at this like weird group of people, but then they realize that there's a look amongst all of you that says they should probably just mind their business and keep going. And they do. So about the time you get there, you can see that the first kid walking up, and he has Cal and Bird with him, and they have since you've been gone these 45 minutes, well, now an hour and a half, they have acquired new shirts and haircuts, and are kind of walking kind of on their high horses, right? I mean, they're big shots now. And so Cal comes up and he throws his foot up onto the stone and just kind of looks at your group, and then so what's you wanted us for something about the egg?
So much for their 15 minutes. I think it is time for some more truth. Tell everyone here exactly how you came by this egg.
And you can see now coming down the main road is a small pony with a small female halfling on it, riding up.
Good. With a chest with another egg.
Right. she rides up and
Keep on a dozen.
What's going on here?
Well, these 2 are about to tell us the tale of how they came upon this egg. I'll look to Belfast.
I heard about that.
Yes, it seems we're caught in a dispute. These gentlemen here and these gentlemen here both claim to have had the egg stolen from them. And these 2 have claimed to have stolen an egg. So we're trying to find out.
She looks like rapidly over at like Cal and Bird and kind of gives them that grandmother, like, we're going to talk about this look. And then she looks.
And that is the truth. Whether it was from a nest or what have you, they did steal the egg.
There's going to be a paddling.
It'll be a paddling.
All right, Tom, you and Hut go whitewash the fence.
Yeah,
Right?
pretty much. Whitewash the entire dock. That won't take long.
So, what's this story then, boys? She hasn't gotten off her pony. She just has her hands like kind of crossed in front of her. She's dressed very businesslike. Well, you see, we found it in a nest in the woods.
I want to watch the reactions of the orc and the elf leaders.
Yeah.
See how they respond to this story.
Right. Well, I mean, the Athiel jumps in. That's impossible. You know, that is. We have your descriptions. You are seen stealing it from some of our guards.
These boys stole an egg from your guards.
Not mine.
Well, I mean, your people. Your people. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Armed and armored as you.
People sleep.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Let us hear the rest of the boy's tale.
Yeah,
Yes.
and of course, you know, Yerk calls out essentially the same thing. You know.
Yeah. Can you describe the nest?
Wait, the orc says that they saw these
the orc
two
says that
steal them from guards as well?
No,
Wow.
no. Yeah, we saw it from the elves. No,
We gotta hire these kids for
the
some
orc
thieving.
says that he was given the description of these two having stolen it from the nest in the hatchery.
Okay.
Was it the same person that described them to both of you? I say that as a genuine question.
So they kind of look at you like, how do we know what the person looked like that told him that? I was so Yerk's. It was a traveler. We were looking for the egg, and he comes through occasionally, about this high, and he goes on to describe a sandy blonde, blue-eyed individual who comes through with multiple robes and a cart, and he sells like oddities, like gnomish wind-up toys and stuff like that. But he was the one that had seen them, and he fingers towards the two lads.
I'm going to look at the elf. Does this match the description of who you learned it from?
And he like slams his like mailed fist onto the shield of one of the other elves. Is everyone working for the orcs? And yes, that matches the description perfectly.
Then I think we know who the original sower of deceit was.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, these orcs and their inability to recognize the truth.
Are you blind?
They
This
obviously
traveler,
hired
he
someone.
told the same story to both of you. Do not let your prejudice blind you to the truth.
He just crosses his arms, or so they say.
I'm going to look to the mayor.
So Bird looks over at Cal. He kind of like whispers something.
So
I think Cal walks over and he looks at you, Belfast.
Mhm.
So we're clear. You bought the egg that we had from us, right?
Yes.
Everyone heard that, right?
The egg which
You
you
bought
says
the
you...
egg
Yes,
The egg you
the
say you
stolen
found.
goods that you sold. Yes, the illegal stolen goods you sold. Yes.
right. Well, you
So-
bought them.
The egg you claim to have found in the
Oh,
woods.
I say, don't worry, young man. We'll be discussing that next.
Hey, you bought it. Bird steps forward. That guy in the cloak sounds a lot like the guy that gave us the egg.
Whoa. So someone gave you the egg now. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. He looks down like he's ashamed.
Interesting. So you took stolen goods.
More deceptions.
Today
Cal
you really do need to get out more.
Cal and I were out in the clearing, like we said, and we come across this camp. You know, small traveler camp, and there's this old man there, blonde hair and blue eyes. I'm gonna have to not do that voice anymore because it's killing me. But like thought I could do it. Smoking on his pipe, and we stayed with him for a bit and talked, and he told us stories about his travel, and he asked about our families, and it hasn't been a great crop season for us. And I say us because Cal, he's my cousin, and long story short, he he offered us this egg and told us that he had come by it in his travels, and that if we came into town, that surely someone would buy it. And
all right, so in the hopes that the mayor is the one honest person around here, I'm going to say to her, it should be obvious to all what has occurred here. This traveler stole the egg, gave it to these two boys so they would get blamed and divert the pursuers off his tail.
But we still have to determine which party he stole it from, if either.
Yeah.
So she looks and she kind of nods along with what you're saying.
Are there any natural philosophers in town, spellcasters who might be able to glean anything from this egg other than?
Wow, she's actually the highest level spellcaster in town.
Oh, okay.
There might be.
I think identify would work, wouldn't it?
Well, I was going to say just detect lie. That's a fairly low level
that would be the
spell.
one. Yeah, detect lie would be good. Identify would probably work.
Hold on, let's see.
I have to speak with animals, but I don't think the egg can speak yet. So
detect lies is not a spell anymore.
No, the zone of truth is the spell. I think now.
That's what
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
now.
I don't know what level that is.
Zone of truth second level. So Father Johnson can actually cast that.
Oh, there you go. Awesome.
Yep. He's not
let's
going to
get
have
out
it. He's not going to have it prepared.
Is it a ritual spell?
Let's find out that too.
You think you'd have a continual zone of truth over the confession booth?
Where's the fun in that, though? No, it's not.
The fun is in him knowing they're lying, even if they don't.
And then you said identify.
I'm just thinking because I know identify will do more than just tell magic items.
There's spell that lets you gain knowledge about a monster or something like that.
Yeah. Well. Actually, it says if instead you touch a creature throughout the casting, you can learn. Oh no! It just says if there's any spell affecting it. It doesn't tell you about the creature itself. If this thing's imbued with magic, it might tell something. Like if it's if it doesn't magic.
You've looked at it a couple of times with some various forms of sight, and you definitely see something radiating off of it. So,
okay, so it is potentially magical, a magical creature of some kind.
But do you ask her about that?
Yeah, I
I
say
mean, you saw her casting spells at the dock.
sure. Yeah, I say, well, this is potentially a magical creature. Is there is there are spells to identify magical objects? Do you have something of that nature that could perhaps solve this conundrum? Or
Yeah, so she gets down off the pony and walks over. She removes these small leather gloves off her hand,
Mhm.
and she looks at Tug. Lift it out for me, will you?
you muted.
I'm assuming yes.
Sling the,
No, lady.
sling the hammer and set the shield aside and reach down and grab it and lift it out.
Okay.
I like her.
Everyone except for Tug can give me a perception roll.
Everyone except for Tuck? Okay.
Yeah.
Rolled 11. I get an 11.
10.
I'm staring at her in the egg for the most part, so apparently I missed something.
You say a 9?
I get 11. Oh, sorry.
10. 10 for me.
Right. I didn't hear what DBJ said.
I rolled a 1.
Okay.
Whatever.
So nothing.
Did I leave the
rolls,
iron on?
rolls are not with you. It's like, did I leave the oven?
Is that like your second or third one tonight?
Yeah, I just dice.
Oh man.
Okay.
Brutal.
So she reaches up and she puts her hands on it and she begins casting a spell.
Oh.
And it explodes. No.
Put Tug holding it.
And it's a living phylactery.
All right, so for the next
Boil egg.
It's a
seconds.
phoenix egg. When it explodes.
Right. Yeah.
No, for the next 60 seconds, she stands there, kind of chanting / mumbling, but you can see magical energy coming off of her. And at the end of the 60, and you can, in that minute, unless you guys are all literally staring at her for 60 seconds, I would imagine that you are looking around at the other individuals, and you can see that Yerk has this very strange look on his face. Like,
What the heck is she doing?
well, no, more like he wants to reach out and grab or touch the egg, but he's holding it back because she's casting a spell.
Yeah.
But he's got this perplexed look on his face, and the elf just looks impatient.
Yeah.
And at the end of the spell,
There's a second level spell there.
yeah, at the end of it, she steps back and she puts back on her gloves, and it looks like she's kind of
Pausing.
processing.
What have you learned?
Apparently,
we need to work on your people skills.
apparently, we've all been deceived.
Ah, well.
I know I have.
Not. She looks. It's not an egg. And then there's like this incredulous look from everybody. Like clearly it's an egg, lady. Like we've all seen it. Tug's holding it. Egg.
Hey,
All right.
we thought we were wrong, but we were mistaken.
That's
Well,
right.
foolish though I am, I believe her. What is it?
It's a magical device of some sort. I don't know who Tug's handing it to.
He's trying to get rid of it. It's like Batman with the old time bomb.
Yep.
Right.
Some days you can't get rid of the bomb.
Sparkler fuse on top.
Right.
I need to get rid of it.
So,
Yeah. So, yeah.
quick question for you guys.
Good.
It's 11 o'clock. Are you good for another 45 minutes or so, Rob?
Yeah, I can do probably 45 minutes.
All right, cool. So she steps back and she's puzzled, and it's
time for combat.
Exactly.
That's
kind
kind
of the thing.
that's kind of that sound.
So the egg begins to sort of like vibrate in your hands, Tug. You can kind of almost like it's pulling to one side and pulling to the other. And
put it in the box and lock it.
And you throw it from the train.
Yeah, put it. I say in the box, Tug.
Do we not want others to see what is inside?
Do we want to see what's inside?
How else are we to learn the truth?
I can learn the truth of dying without having to die myself.
Your comment puzzles me.
All right, so you shove it into the chest and close the lid, and you guys can hear this sort of like sound from inside the chest. And then one side, like one of the sides of the chest, you see this like small sized clay fist like punch out the side of it.
Huh.
Perhaps we should open the chest.
I don't think we'll need to in a moment.
Yeah, and then
I'll
like
take
a
the lid off.
little foot comes out. All right.
Yeah.
So you
I'll take the
open
lid
it up.
off.
You open it up, and what you see essentially is like it's the size of a gnome or a halfling, and roughly humanoid, but a little more egg shaped. If that makes sense, like its bottom is larger than its top, so it gives it that look. But it has.
It's like one of the garden gnomes from Harry Potter, the potato looking ones.
But it is humanoid featured, and it starts ripping itself out of the box.
Mr. Potato Head from Toy Story.
Yeah, there you go.
As it is clearly neither scorpion nor eagle, I will take a moment to glance at both the elven leader and the orc leader and maybe stick my tongue out.
Yeah, I'll kind of look at him too. It's like, do either of you care to explain this?
So the as this thing like continues to like, it's like literally ripping through portions of the chest as it tries to stand and clamber to its feet. The elf looks at you, Tadeo. I guess we were all.
Well, I know I was.
He swings up onto his horse.
Fine with me.
I'll let him.
Sooner these liars are out of here.
On the bright side, that, and he indicates to the little thing, which now is about 4 inches bigger than it was.
It's not an eagle.
Not my problem. And he says something in Elvish, and they leave.
Good. You know, fuck you too.
Yerk, on the other hand, is still standing there.
And the horse you rode in on.
Right. Yerk is still standing there a bit dumbfounded. But at this point, we're going to go ahead and roll initiative, because this thing is going to get to dwarvish size.
Okay.
And
Let's see.
Can I spend my turn just saying to the orc, "Oh, I know animals. Oh, I raise all kinds of animals. Oh, I would never be mistaken about an egg."
I mean, you can.
It's a device that hides amongst eggs.
It hatches clay golems.
Apparently. So it does. All right. Who's got what?
16.
7.
18.
Oh, I'll put it here.
Oh, cool. I got a 12. Wow. Goody, goody.
What was yours?
Yep.
Tug?
18.
All right. So is that right? Is that everybody?
I think so.
Sweet. All right, Tug, you go first.
Nail.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Where's my hammer? Nail.
Oh, hang on, I can't remember.
Yeah. I should have used my Cthulhu dice. Yeah. Yeah.
12.
12 does not hit it. Well,
Is
it
that even
hits it,
allowed?
but it's like
Yeah, it
clunk. All right.
It makes perfect sense.
Yes.
All right, so yeah, it clangs off of it. Then it is Belfast's turn.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll grab my shield off my back, draw the sword, swing away. 11. So the sword,
Right. And it kind
deflects off
of
it.
it kind of sparks in that, like you indicated earlier. Stone, like your weapon on almost like ceramic.
Right. Ah, damn it. All
right. Trying to see if I can get this to be a
I'm
bigger
also trying to maneuver myself as I'm doing this with my movement. Just to, I'm not going out of its range, but I'm trying to maneuver myself in between any civilians who might be nearby, so that.
Yeah, and that's all right. I'm on top. I'm on the flipping cart with it.
right.
Same.
So that's roughly kind of what it looks like.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Ooh, it's like dwarven height.
Yeah, it is just a little bit larger than small creature. So it's smaller than dwarf, but taller than a halfling or a gnome.
Yeah.
And then it will be Yaz's turn.
Yes. Okay. I warn the others, wave them aside a little bit with my staff, and I pull my scarf down. I take a deep breath and let loose some spuge with a
Delicious.
12. Yep, 12.
So it kind of like coats it, but doesn't get onto its face.
Right.
So this thing doesn't really seem affected by it.
No, it was just regular vomit. I didn't get that true acid that I really wanted.
Right. He just puked on it. All right, Tadeo.
All right. I can do any better than the others. What is that? Oh, 15.
15 hits it.
Ooh, there you go.
Actually, I got more than 15. I got 18.
Oh,
okay.
More than 15.
Well, I'm going to go all out. I'm going to use my Divine Smite. So I'm going to add a bunch of damage. Let's see what the total is. Yeah, not great. 13 damage total.
Divine Smite.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not great for 2d10 and 2d8. As a bonus action, I can make a melee attack with the handle for d4 damage if I hit. I got a 20 on that. So
nice.
Wow. So it's going to do 8 points of more damage. So 21 total.
All right. So yeah, a chunk of this thing just falls off. And as it falls, it kind of turns into sand. And it bellows in a very gravelly tone. And then because Tug is the one that's like right up next to it, it'll swing at Tug. Does a 16 hit you, Tug?
No.
All right. So he swings and just like you hear whang as it just like racks off your shield. And then it is back to Tug.
Nails. 18.
That will hit it.
And that's 8 plus 5. Where'd you go? 4. There you are. Actually, plus 7. Oh, that's a 10, dummy. Oh, cool. Plus 5, plus 9, 10.
10 points of damage.
Yes.
All right.
On a wand.
No problems. Flakes come off of it, and as they do, those shards of clay, ceramic, stone, they sort of turn to dust as they fall down. Is Belfast's turn.
All right. So I moving around again and take a swing.
All right.
13, 17 total.
Yep.
All right. And I will also pour divine magic into this. So as I hold to sort of bring it down, my holy symbol glows. The blade begins to get this sort of reading flame around it. There's a blue flame. I'm looking for my D8. I can find it. Oh, there, okay. So 6 and 4 is 10, and nice. 21.
Wow. All right. So you smash into it,
including dice. My big flash of blue flame as it strikes across it.
right? And again, chunks of this thing come off. Like you can start to see cracks running up and down it. Again, it sort of bellows out as portions of it fall and turn to sand. Rob, no, BBJ.
Okay. All right, I'll try it one more time. Or one more time after the next time. 9, 13. I don't think
13 is not going to hit it.
Ugh.
You need to put that dice in a dice prison or something, man.
Where's my microwave at?
It is not working for you.
Yeah, microwave the dice. All right, so now it is Rob.
All right. Natural 20, baby.
Nice.
It's twice the night.
Back
All
my
right.
dice.
So
Yeah,
I
that
get
was
to.
universe.
Oh, this is cool because Magenta can. All right. 5 plus. I get to reroll 1s or 2s.
Nice.
So I got 10 plus 3 is 13, and I will take a bonus action. Yeah, I get so that's also a hit for another D4 plus 3. So another 4. So 17 damage total. So I bring my sword down, kind of like always trying to pierce its head, and then I butt it in the face.
Right, and again, it bellows, and these cracks begin to deepen, and as they do deepen, you start to see this, brown, almost like river water. This sort of brownish water sort of begins to seep out from inside this thing. You have hurt it the worst now there today, and so
Yeah.
it leaps.
I was just gonna say,
good.
I take no joy in this action. I feel the creature just sort of forced us into the defensive thing. I don't want to kill this thing, but it's leaving us no choice.
Right. The thing it kind of yells and then leaps from this the back of this cart towards you. And as it does, you can see that its stubby little legs sharpen. Like they sort of form little blades, and he's like kind of missile drop kicking you, but
okay.
And he will swing at you, and he'll get a 7, and then he will swing again at you, and he'll get an 18.
Second one's a hit.
All right. So he 9 points of piercing damage as he stabs one of his feet into you.
Ouch.
Actually, hold one sec here. I want to check something real quick.
Okay.
Nah, it's no, never mind. I just want to see if something was a reaction, but it's a bonus action. Never mind.
Gotcha. Okay. So it stabs into you and it lands with a 35-pound thud, whatever that sounds like.
Okay.
And it will be Tug's turn. So Tug, this thing is now outside the cart, not directly engaged with you anymore, but you can easily get to it.
So I'm just going to reposition myself, like in reaction to being hit, to try and keep the wagon between me and the wagon. And
okay, that's fine.
So he's pincer.
In which case, I'm dropping down behind it.
Yep.
And that gives me a flank attack on it.
Yep. So you'll have advantage.
Right.
We'll drop off the wagon. Oh.
15 does hit it. Yep.
15 hits. All right. That's 8 plus. How much my mind is going? Eight plus 5 is 13.
Mm-hmm.
And then action surge.
Yep.
So I get another attack.
Wow.
And that one misses cleanly.
Okay. So your hammer clacks into this thing. Another large shard, like breaking off like one of the little clay nodules on its shoulder. And it sort of turns to sand as it falls to the ground. This thing rages and looks towards you. Go ahead and attack there, Belfast.
Okay, so as I sort of step forward again, you know, as the way I see it, we're all four of us kind of surrounding this thing.
Mm-hmm.
As I step forward, I kind of put my hand towards Tadeo, and as a bonus action, I give him Shield of Faith. I say, "Be guarded, my friend," and I touch him and give him a +2 to his armor class.
Okay,
and then I'll come in and swing at this thing.
I'll give a sharp nod.
15 total.
15 hits.
Okay. It takes 8 this time.
Okay.
So
a small sliver of it comes off.
Do we have a bit of a crowd watching?
Yeah.
The two thieves, the mayor, and the orcs, or the half orcs,
and townspeople have stopped, and you can hear you're kind of talking in the background. He keeps sort of asking if you need assistance, but he's not stepping into your fight.
Mm-hmm.
I will say if I fall.
All right.
In my head, I'm hearing Star Trek action music.
Yeah.
Well, my problem is I'm wearing rust red, and if this is Star Trek, I'm dead.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
All right, GBJ.
Okay. Wow. Let's see. No. All right. I mean, to me, it makes perfect sense that this thing is kind of like, it's, I don't know, elemental maybe, or something, some kind of weird creature, what have you. But it might have some sort of, I don't know, life to it. So I'm going to use I point the palm of my hand. I pull the wrappings back, and something dark ejects out of my hand. It's a ray of sickness, but I have to make roll. 4. Oh, sweet! I got a 10, and that's a different die. Okay.
But you get a plus, right? Yeah.
No, I added it. Yeah, I got.
Oh, is that what the adding? Oh, never mind.
I rolled a 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the incompetent.
I won't know, but the spell effect has a necrotic effect to it, so I wasn't sure whether it would affect it or not. So I was just trying to I was just going to
Gotcha.
attempt. Yep. So
Gotcha.
now I'll never know.
More, he's just out there throwing really icky party streamers at this thing. Like,
Yeah, all of my spell effects are conjurations, and they're sick. It's like poison spray, acid,
right.
web, ray of sickness, sleep, grease, fog cloud.
Right.
Maybe the reason you're missing so much is because you're overwhelmed with guilt for the deceptions that you made.
No, that's not it.
All of his spells are just bodily fluid based.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Tadeo.
No web spells.
Sick.
All right.
Yes, yeah, I know. I was like,
Oh yeah, 18 on the die, so lots.
Nice.
1, I get to re-roll that damage die.
As they say in
4.
bowling, as they say in bowling,
So
you're throwing
7
rocks.
7 damage there, and I'll take my bonus hilt action, which hits with a 16, which is another 4. So 11 total. So again, slash and butt.
Right. So
Bludgeon.
that
slash.
brings
Fall
us up-
down creature.
That brings us up to. All right. So this thing again screams, and more of this sort of muddy-ish water pours out of it.
Is it growing?
Nope, it is stopped.
That's good.
But you can see the muddy water that is pouring out of it starting to mix with the little piles of sand that have been chipped off of it. And they start to turn into little versions of it. And it bellows, and like it's, and then you hear like a from these smaller versions of it, and it attacks, and they attack along with it. So essentially, all these things do is give this thing multi-attack, right? So it will swing at Tadeo again, and it's gonna be a 17 to hit you, Tadeo.
Yeah, that's
Don't
what my
forget about
armor
your
class
+2.
is now. Yeah, it was only 15, now it's 17. So
All right.
That's it.
that's a hit.
So it'll smack into you with the first one, and it will do 4 points of damage as it just like this fist hits you, and then you feel these smaller ones coming after you there, Tug, and 14. So they basically they're down there like banging on your shins, ting 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 ting. And the second one's only 12. So yeah, you have these 2 small ones that are down there, kind of like, but not to no avail. The big one's bellowing, and it is Tug's turn.
Tug stomp.
I'm still going after the bigger one
Right,
at this
Tug's
point.
like,
The
"I
other
can't
ones
hit
are
little
just.
things."
This one's a little thing, but I'm going after the bigger one of the group.
The bigger one of the little things.
Yeah. Okay. All right, DBJ, you're not allowed to play anymore. You're ruining my dice rolls.
It's spreading.
I'm very infectious.
And we're back to 14. That's a miss.
All right. So it hits him. It just clings off. With sort of metal on stone scraping sound. And then it is Belfast's turn.
All right. Okay, one more spell I can use if I do it. 15. 19. That definitely hits. Okay.
Yes.
And this time I'm going to do the thunderous smite.
Okay.
So bring it down with this huge boom as the. Okay, so that's 9.
Does Thunder Strike actually do thunder damage?
Yeah.
Okay, so roll your thunder damage twice.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Well, actually, let me check that. I'm pretty sure it does by the name, but let me double check.
Wow.
Just so I'm getting
That's wild, crazy stuff
Thunder.
there.
yeah, thunder damage. Yep. All right.
Only thing it has weakness to.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Well,
all right.
Shatter.
10, all right, so that's 29 points of damage, and it needs to make a strength saving throw.
Wow.
Its strength saving throw is an 18.
All right, yeah, I think it made. Yeah, I made it. So it is not knocked back or knocked prone. So
you hit it, it scoots back like 2 inches, and the 2 small ones that are down at Tug's feet just poof, like they are just like dust.
Oh, that's. I think I could use it only once. It's Thunder Smite is concentration up to a minute, so I can actually reuse this now that I've cast it. So I didn't realize that. So
Wow.
It's really not going to matter too much, I don't think. But let's find out.
Well,
all right.
Well, it could be handy. So
yeah. All right.
Just noting
DBJ, bring it down.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Last chance
all
to
right.
prove your worth.
wow.
Well, my intention was to kind of help you guys so I could make like a grease or a web or something, and then you guys could push it in there. But I don't think it's going anywhere, so I'm going to try to splash it with acid yet again. And die roll. I rolled a 15, 19.
So you nice.
Yay!
Yay!
Woohoo!
All right,
And,
all right.
Okay.
So this is how many hit points he needs to do.
1.
You have
was
earned
that
your
roll?
supper this night.
All right, let's see. Let's roll die. And
5 hit points.
are you kidding me? I rolled a d6. I rolled a 1.
Oh man!
It's
And
acid.
that's it.
Yeah. And I can't even burn a higher level spell thing. Nope. It's only when you go up in levels. You can't even.
Oh
buff
man!
it. Nope. You
All right,
can't
so
even
you
boost it.
splash it with acid damage, and you can see it pockmarks it. What you notice with that damage is that there is no shards come off. So for whatever that is worth. All right. Today I kill it.
Funny.
Yeah, I got a 13 on the die, so that's going to be another hit. 8 points of damage right
All
there.
right, so you will destroy this thing.
So I bring my sword point down right through the center of it, and it kind of holds its shape for a minute, and then just sort of shatters and falls in all directions around the sword blade.
Yeah. So and as it does, it sounds like if you've ever like dropped a terracotta pot.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the sound of that pottery shatter as it does. The only thing that doesn't like when it breaks into pieces that are very identifiable, right? Like you can see like here's its thumb.
Mm-hmm.
But the most haunting thing about it are the 2 orange eyes as they just roll and come to like they roll over to Yaz's feet and like bump into them, and there's these 2 orange orbs that are kind of looking up at you from the ground now.
Accusingly.
Lifeless.
A single clay tear runs
Right.
out of the...
A cheer erupts from the crowd that's been watching.
I take no joy in their applause. I turn to the mayor. I assume this town has laws for trafficking in stolen goods
and
fraud.
And fraud, yes.
Mm-hmm.
She nods. The stolen part, yes. The fraud part, I don't think that they intentionally deceived you. I believe they thought it was an egg. It was in
They
fact
did not find
dangerous. You didn't
They are your
buy
laws.
it because, well, you didn't purchase the egg, but you thought that they had found it. You purchased the egg, but you thought it was dangerous.
Well, that's true, but
Oh.
they did say they found it in a nest, so they were attempting to deceive us that it was a natural phenomenon versus something that they had acquired otherwise. In any case, we just want our money back.
Meanwhile,
and-
Tug is
and-
stomping on the pieces and turning them into dust.
Right. Well, I mean, she looks at you and kind of shrugs, like, I suppose we can take that up. the money portion of it. But
And then
recompense is not my main concern. Justice is.
Exactly. Justice.
Well, they will definitely have some explaining and answering, she says very sternly, to do.
Ricky, you got some splaining to do.
I'll have to think on whether or not they should have to return your gold.
I'm going to turn to the orc. For you.
He looks a little flabbergasted.
Since you are a creature of honor, but perhaps you should be less quick in the future to believe tales told by travelers.
He looks at you.
Yeah, I point up. Just point at Belfast.
He looks at you and is like, and perhaps it is not every day that you will purchase a monster's egg.
To take it to a place of safety, that the town would not be threatened.
No, I'm not doubting your cause. Just that I believe we both bought lies in our own way.
Mm-hmm.
I'll nod. It's good enough for me. He didn't commit any crime as far as I know.
No. All right.
If you need us, for anything, we are. And he kind of gestures and explains that his camp's about 7 days past the Rangers.
Okay. Good to know.
But he has some tracking to do because he needs to go find this traveler. And as they sort of they left their wolves outside because that might have been too much for the town. As they turn, he looks back. If you wish to accompany us to find this deceiver, you are welcome.
Perhaps we shall catch up with you.
All right. He basically lays out that he's going to go kind of back to where they had bumped into the traveler and start there. So he gives you directions to that area.
Yes, we have a bit of business here before we leave.
He nods, and he will extend his arm and shake anyone's hand who wishes, and he makes a point of walking over to Tug, and it will be okay. They will learn not to judge you, he says.
Huh?
But yeah, he'll shake everyone's hand. Even Yaz's, even after having seen like the pusses and boils and stuff.
And then he washes.
He leaves. The guy with the horn turns and leaves at the same time. Tara hangs for a minute and lets him get a distance from you guys before she nods and then turns to follow him.
Okay. Is anyone injured besides me?
So there are people who are watching that have small nicks and cuts, like one hit point here and there from where they were catching shrapnel from the fight. But as far as you guys and being really hurt, I think you're the only one.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to lay on hands myself.
You can wait till you get home.
I want to do that in a way that's visible to any watching.
Okay.
And then I'm going to... I need to go back to town.
We're there.
Meditation and prayer.
Okay. So, yeah, you can go back down to the Glass Fish and to your room if that's where you want to go. Or if you wanted to go over to Father Johnson's temple, you can do that too.
He's a broad denomination, right?
He is, yes. So it's almost assured that he has a holy symbol of yours somewhere in a trunk, somewhere. In a building.
Right. Hey, Tug, how about we go talk to those young boys?
Okay.
Yeah. So Lady Bellwood's kind of standing there. They're sitting on what would be a curb, right? Like one of the sidewalks for the businesses, and she is reading them a riot act. And when you come over, she looks at the two of you and Don't hurt them. And she goes and
That's all right.
she gets on her horse and or her pony. She calls over, boys, when they're done with you, come see me again.
Walk behind him and put one huge hand on each shoulder. Not hurt much. And squeeze a little bit.
There's like an audible gulp from both of them.
I'll get down on one knee in front of him in kind of, coach fatherly fashion, and I say, "Now, boys, I understand you were just trying to earn a few extra gold. There's nothing wrong with that, is there?"
Squeeze.
No.
However, you did lie to us about where it came from, didn't you?
Squeeze.
Yes.
Well, they've already admitted that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just for the record.
I got it.
So, how about this? We said we'll talk to the young to the mayor here. We can smooth things over for you. You give us back half. You walk away with the gold plus the copy you made. You're in the clear, and we feel like you didn't,
So Bird very quickly takes that deal.
Okay.
Of course, the rest of the townsfolk might find out that wasn't actually a dragon's egg that they paid to see and touch.
That's true.
I shrug, let the threat hang in the air.
Yeah. So so Bird kind of like lowers his head, and then Cal's like, "Yeah, but they got to hold a golem.
Squeeze."
I mean, that's pretty good too."
Yes, well, you can convince them of that if you wish. I want nothing more to do with you.
Anyone can hold a dragon's egg, but a golem egg?
Yeah.
Really?
That's
really?
easy.
Anyone? They're just commonplace.
Well, common enough that the paladins are like, no. All right. So eventually the crowd breaks up and everyone goes on about their business as the strange goings on in Skelligsport continue.
Maya's cart and horseback.
Yeah, I mean that'll happen eventually. But they give you back the 40 gold or whatever it would be, and
it'd be half, yes, 40.
And when you guys release them, you do see them trot up the road towards Lady Bellwood's estate, and presumably to go get yelled at again.
And find a fence they've got to whitewash.
Right. They actually had to pull all of the tar off all the boards in the dock and then reapply it.
They have to rebuild the dock.
Right.
Just recaulk it.
Well, the dock is currently under being rebuilt anyway, so
yeah,
they're just caulking it.
Right. Cool. And that's where that one ends.
Cool.
Okay. So back in my room, I'm going to just pray for guidance again. Do I continue to trust these individuals? I'm surrounded with deceivers and deception. I don't know what is the right and proper course of action. Like I'm struggling with my. I need
so like guidance. you're in your room and the curtains are drawn so that you don't have that outside kind of interrupting. And in the sort of as dark as you can get in this room, for as you sort of finish your prayers, the curtain flutters a little bit. You thought you had closed the window, but the curtain flutters a little bit, and there is a beam of light that comes through, and it's bright in this dimness of the room, and it kind of the beam just falls across the floor and ends kind of where you're meditating, right? So it's like from you to the window, and as you sort of you look, there's this like path of light that goes that direction.
Excellent.
All right. So that is that.
Excellent.
Tell me. Excellent.
Excellent. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thanks, any of you watched.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. No one's actually watching these, but have fun. Bye.